It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend with Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing? We've got a huge public service announcement this morning. Please bear with me. I'm just trying to get the latest updates. But if you are traversing from the east and you have not yet passed northward, I can tell you that unfortunately you are going to be stuck in traffic for quite some time. In fact, I am recommending you call the boss and you tell them, Auntie Sandy said, traffic is horrendous this morning, and we are going to be here for a hot minute. So I have pictures and I have some details. Just let me grab those so I can tell you what we know as of this point. So again, good morning to everyone. If you're just joining us, we've got a breaking traffic alert this Tuesday morning. Essentially, the top of Northward is blocked because of a vehicular fire. So it looks like it's a van based on the pictures that we have received. And so there is no alternative route that you can take. This is why people keep saying, honey child, we need that east-west extension. Not for nothing, but this is a perfect example of now how half of the island is cut off this morning. So once again, for those of you who are just waking up, just joining us, I know some of you are stuck in traffic, you're listening on the radio. I can reliably inform you that unfortunately, you might as well turn up the volume, sit back, make sure your seatbelts are safely fastened, and enjoy the ride with the cold hard truth this morning. Let's do a few public service announcements while I grab some sheets, and then I'm going to show you some videos. And of course, today is Tuesday, so we do have some guests in the studio with us as well.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings. It's our lifeline.
From pioneers who paved the first paths to today's crews and engineers who keep us going.
They power hospitals, connect families, and help us after natural disasters.
Let's honor the people behind Cayman's progress.
Nominate someone who built or maintained our Cayman Islands
at gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is pleased to announce that the nominations for the 2026 National Recognition Awards are now open. Nominate individuals and groups who played a key role in developing the Cayman Islands' physical infrastructure. The categories include landmark leaders, infrastructure innovators, and the builders of Cayman. Visit gov.ky/YSCH. Click on the Nominate button to make a nomination. Here is a step-by-step guide to fill out the form. Before starting, please read the instructions, the award categories, and the eligibility criteria. Step 1. Enter your personal information and select the award category for the person or group you are nominating. Click Yes to confirm that your nominee meets the criteria. Step 2. Enter the nominee's full name, date of birth, and district. Indicate their current status, whether living or deceased, and ensure you have the current contact information for your nominee and their next of kin. Fill out the submission detail and provide any supporting documents and a reference to support your nomination. Step 3. Review your submission and make any changes by clicking the previous button. When you are ready, confirm and agree to the terms and click Submit Form to make your nomination. A thank you notice will confirm that the nomination was received, and a copy of the application will be sent to your email. Your nomination will be reviewed and considered by the National Recognition Awards Committee, and only successful nominees will be contacted and recognized at next year's National Heroes Day ceremony. The deadline to make a nomination is October 15. Remember, you can submit multiple nominations or browse our frequently asked questions by visiting the National Recognition Awards tab at gov.ky/YSCH. We look forward to receiving your nomination.
All right, folks. So again, good morning and welcome one and welcome all. If you're just joining us, I want to alert you about a traffic situation this morning at the top of Northwood Road. So essentially what we have is a vehicular fire. And like I said earlier, it looks like a van from all the videos that I have seen. And basically, I'm going to try to show you guys one of these. Some of you are not the best at recording, but we've got some videos here. And yeah, so all traffic coming out of the eastern districts are at a standstill this morning. If you had not passed northward by the time this fire started, unfortunately, you will not be able to do so at this time as the authorities ensure that you can pass it safely. So there will be some extended traffic delays. So just be patient, turn up the radio. You got us to keep you company. And we've got lots of news and updates for you here this morning. So we'll keep you abreast. We're watching the alert from the RCIPS. And as soon as we know more on that front, we will certainly advise you of any traffic updates. So again, it's a van. I'll show you a quick little video here, but we've got a van that is on fire this morning. So not sure how it happened, honey chill. But what I do know is buses are now going to be hot. Here's a little video of it. The person was trying to change it into horizontal mode. It doesn't work once you start recording. You kind of have to stick where you are, but there it is. Quite a blaze. And we've seen some pictures of the van. Now this person is going, I think, in the opposite direction. And this was obviously before the authorities were on the scene. Now that the authorities are on the scene, the traffic has been stopped completely while they try to make this safe. So yeah, wow. Pretty crazy. We see a CUC truck stop there of providing some assistance. So big shout out to whatever CUC crew that was that decided to stop and offer some help. So we'll post something up on our social media channels for people who may not be fully watching. And of course, if your boss is already calling you saying, "Where you at, honey child? Why aren't you to work?" You can say, "I'm on my way. I'm coming." Oh, we got a better one here. Hold on one second. I'm going to show you guys this one. Whoa. So this is before the authorities were on location. And just a reminder, folks, you want to ensure that you, at all costs, that you try to take things in your vehicle like fire extinguishers. I know we don't think about these things until we need it, but wow, looks like they certainly needed it this morning. All right. Well, we've got Health City Cayman Islands in the studio with us. It is Tuesday. Good morning, Sir Shamari. How are you?
Good morning, Sandy. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So you're going to be so proud of me. You know, you've motivated me. You've motivated me to get to walking.
Mm-hmm.
So on Sunday, I got up and I got on the elliptical machine. I did it yesterday morning, just starting out with 15 minutes, slow and easy. But then this morning, I got on there and my knee just couldn't manage it. So I did 10 minutes. At least I did something. And then it kind of felt like it was seizing up on me a little bit. So I quick time messaged Dr. Naranjan to see if I need to come and see him or maybe just do some more stretches, or I'm not sure what I need to do. But, you know, you're looking so slim and trim. I can't make you be the only one looking good in the studio these days.
So if I speak to Marlon, he'll say that the clothes that are hanging on the elliptical are gone.
Well, you know, I'll admit that there were actually never any clothes because it's in a separate room. You know, that happens when it's like in the bedroom,
right?
And you just like throw clothes on it. But no, it was in the gym. So I'm proud to say that you know, there weren't any clothes hanging on it, but there weren't any miles on it either.
That's good. That's good. Keep it up. So yeah, like we were discussing, practically every night, or at least 6 nights out of the week, sometimes in the mornings, 45 minutes, an hour on the elliptical, since April. So I am down now. So interestingly enough, because you would have seen when we were with the chamber in Europe, that I was still getting into the gym, right?
Yes, you were very diligent.
That I guess with all the additional walking on top of it, when I came back, you know, I was partaking in the libations and the such. So I was like, if I can just maintain my weight before I left, that'd be great. Actually lost 5 pounds. 5 pounds on the trip. Yep.
Oh my God, no way.
Down 43 pounds since April.
Wow. You see, I think men just have a different metabolism, a different system. You guys, it's so much easier for you guys. But having said that, I think that you are proving that persistence and continuity is really what pays dividends, right? So, yeah, I'm starting. I am starting, and I'm going to, you know, I'm gonna give it my best shot. I just got to make sure the knee can actually hold up with me. But
some bad news. Yeah. Some bad news.
Oh,
we dropped another one, but you know, I'm on the Mike McDaniel fire watch. I'm hoping that we get rid of the coach by mid-season. He's still there. No. I think this experiment is over. We've given him enough years, no playoff wins, and this year has been horrendous. There's actually no glimmer of hope. So I think the time is right now that we get rid of him. But you know, at least we enjoyed Europe when we were there, and I got my Liechtenstein glass. That's how you say it, right?
Yes. That was one of my favorite. What was your favorite part of the trip? I mean, I really enjoyed Liechtenstein, but I think all of Innsbruck was pretty cool.
Yeah, Innsbruck was amazing. So I think I'd remember telling you that I went to summer school in Innsbruck when I was in university. So I had already fallen in love with Innsbruck. So Innsbruck was wonderful, but for me, obviously the Oktoberfest, you know, being able to have the large pints of beer and partake in that portion of their culture was one of the highlights. But definitely Innsbruck was, for me, the highlight of the trip.
Yeah.
Beautiful city, castles, architecture, walking, the different churches. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And boy, did we do a lot of walking. Yeah, I mean, you know, you got in your workout, but you also did a lot of walking every day anyway. So I think that that's a positive. in terms of just movement and keeping fit and keeping healthy. Well, welcome back. We were missed, I can tell you, because I got so many threats that I was going to have my passport taken away and all sorts of things. And so I promise that I won't go anywhere for the rest of the year.
Oh, well, that's you're gonna keep that promise?
I mean, it's just a couple months. Well, I won't go anywhere that's going to take me away for more than a day. Let me put
I was about to say, because some of that Christmas shopping might.
I know, right?
But, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But yes, I tell you what. But here we are, folks. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And, we are pleased to have Health City in the studio this morning talking about what is really an important, discussion, important topic every single year. October, as we know, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And it's an opportunity for all organizations across the island, NPOs and individuals who've been touched by breast cancer to really, share their wealth of knowledge, their personal experiences, for clinicians to join the conversation and to, tell us what the latest information is, quite frankly, about this disease that has plagued a lot of people. And, a lot of people, when they hear the C word, they get so incredibly scared. But I can tell you that there is a lot on the horizon, a lot of developments, a lot more information that we know. And so I want to welcome in the studio this morning, Dr. Vinitha Benoy. Remember, there's two Benoys at Health City, Cayman Islands, but this is, we affectionately just call her Dr. Vinitha, so we don't get them confused. And then Dr. Benoy is her husband, Dr. Benoy. So good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Hi, Shamari.
Hi,
thank
Dr.
you for
Vinitha.
having me today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. And again, this is, a regular discussion that we have to have around breast cancer, especially acknowledging Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So there are a lot of people who, like I said, remain very, very fearful of the C word, especially women when it comes to breast cancer. But it seems to me that we're making some real strides and real improvements, both in our knowledge base as well as in treatments. I know you're going to be talking about some of those strides here this morning, but the World Health Organization has this global breast cancer initiative, and it aims to reduce breast cancer mortality, globally by 2.5% every year. And that would actually save 2.5 million lives by 2040. Do you think, Dr. Vinitha, in your opinion, that that's an achievable goal?
Definitely.
Before Dr. Vinitha answers, Sandy,
Yes.
I won't allow you to ensure that I have bad manners, because my mother listens to the program.
Oh,
so we have to. I know a lot of people now know and love Dr. Vinitha, but for the few that don't, Dr. Vinitha is our senior consultant in medical oncology. She has decades of experience. As you know, Sandy, she was a part of our A team when we first came on island.
Yes.
She does consultations for diagnosis, management of various malignancies. She's in charge of our chemo unit. And she was also instrumental in developing and enhancing cancer care on island. A lot of people may forget, but she was actually the first full-time resident oncologist that we had on island. And she was the one who brought a lot of the advances that we have within Health City, which has really helped to stave off later stages of cancer by catching things early, as well as the ability to treat. And her focus is on prevention, screening, early detection, knowing that going that route always helps when it comes to quality of life, as well as saving of lives as well. And we're very, very pleased, as you mentioned, part of our A team from the very beginning. And we're very, very pleased always to have Dr. Vinitha here with us. I know many people know of Dr. Vinitha, but just need to remind people who may not actually know Dr. Vinitha, who she is and what she does And I'm so happy to have her here with us today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the introductions. I just assume that everybody knows all of the HCCI team, the Health City Cayman Islands team, as well as I do, because I see them all over the place. I'm like, hey, I feel like we're friends now. But yes, thank you so much. And your mama taught you properly. Good
Thanks,
job.
Shamari.
Good job.
Thank
Yes,
you.
good job. So yes, Dr. Vinitha, welcome again to the program, and thanks, Shamari, for that introduction. And by the way, if you ever want any details on who the team members are, I think pretty much everyone can be found in your website, right, Shamari?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. And you can see all of their amazing credentials. So, Dr. Vinitha, the World Health Organization has this goal. Sometimes goals are set and we go, I don't know how achievable that is. What are your thoughts on this particular one?
Yeah, I definitely feel it is achievable. And I think we have made great strides, even in Cayman, towards the same goal that we are doing. So I'm actually proud to say that, or we don't have the direct statistics, but over what I've seen, like in the last 1 decade that I've been here, we are identifying more and more stage 1 and 2 cancers, breast cancers. And, breast cancer is unique because the organ is outside the body. So you can find a lump early when compared to some, cancer growing inside the stomach or something like that. So we do have a unique opportunity in breast cancer for detecting these cancers early, just because the organ is outside. And we do have effective screening, investigations like a mammogram or ultrasound. And it's only about, a matter of raising awareness and, about their body, like, how to self-examine your body or detect a lump, why you should bring it to the attention of a doctor, why you should have screening mammograms and stuff like that. And what I'm finding even right here is that over the years, through various educational campaigns, awareness programs, led by the Breast Cancer Society, Foundation, Public Health, Cancer Society, and even the doctors, there's been a huge progress in, or improvement in breast cancer awareness. More and more women do breast self-exams, get their screening. So I have found a shift in the stage. There's a stage migration, I call. When I first came here, I was seeing a lot of stage 4 breast cancers, or stage 3. And now I'm finding more of stage 1 or stage 2 detected either by their self-awareness or by screening. So that's a huge improvement that we are seeing. And so the patient survival also increases, and we have now more breast cancer survivors than any other cancer on island. So this is a huge positive shift, and this is what the breast cancer, the WHO is aiming for in other countries. So I think we ourselves are an example that this will work.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. The theme for this year is every story is unique, every journey matters. And it's just highlighting the way in which breast cancer touches lives of every woman and their families around the world differently. And we should also say men, because I know that we kind of leave men out of this discussion thinking that this is a women's only disease. But in fact, it can and does touch men as well. So let's acknowledge that, sometimes they are the direct, patient being impacted. And then obviously, it is just overall family, which includes supportive husbands and, partners and so on that are part of this journey as well. So, we will be speaking with a young lady a bit later on who's going through this journey. And so when we talk about the fact that every story is unique and every journey matters, what are your thoughts when you see a victim come in, Dr. Vinitha, as a clinician? How do you make sure that you are seeing them as an individual patient, even from the perspective of just the physician assessment and care?
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word victim for a cancer person with cancer.
Okay.
I would rather like to, celebrate them by calling them either a survivor or a thriver.
Okay.
Or a warrior, because it's a difficult time, in their most difficult time, I would say, in somebody's life journey. And depending on the lot of issues that creep up. It's not just fighting the cancer. So you have to see the person and the person as a whole, and the family, their cultural perspectives, their a lot of things, a lot of background, cultural values, religion, a whole lot of social, economic, and other issues that come into play with how they deal with it and how they fight through it. So every survivor or thriver is unique, and so as a doctor, as someone who cares for them, treats for them, it is my journey to make, it is my responsibility to make sure that I just don't treat the cancer, but also try to identify and mitigate the various issues that bother them, and try to get them the help they need, the awareness they need, to along with just the treatment. So it's important to identify at each visit what are the issues that prevent them or limit them or trouble them during their survivor or a fight, the, for against this malady. So a unique approach is needed, and reaching out to sources that can help them, like the Breast Cancer Foundation or the Cancer Society, because for some it is probably it is maybe just financially reasons. A person may not be getting a breast biopsy because they can't afford a mammogram, or they can't afford a biopsy, or they're not able to get the insurance support that they probably are eligible for. Like I see a lot of patients who come who are eligible for, who don't have a job, who don't have a revenue or source of income, and then they have cancer, and they keep postponing the test they need or the treatment because they don't know that there's something, there's a need financial assistance unit for the government, in the government, that can help them, or there is Cancer Society who can help them with financial assistance. There are free mammogram vouchers available, free pap smears available. So it is my duty to let them know and refer them to the appropriate team as well when they come to me for their treatment.
Wow. So thank you so much for that information. Now we're going to be talking about sort of what the GBCI strategic global approach is. Now tell us what exactly is the GBCI. So we talk about this Global Breast Cancer Initiative. Is its only objective then to reduce breast cancer, or does it look at other things in relation to this disease?
So it is not just the spiller one is a first step towards reducing cancer incidence or detecting them early, like stage 1 or 2, where you can have more cure, less treatment than more advanced stages, so there are more survivors. So promotion of general health awareness, like the importance of a healthy diet, regular exercise. Shomari is an example. I'm amazed at what he has achieved just by walking 45 minutes 6 days a week, and some dietary I'm sure he still enjoys his food, but making the right choices most of the time, and of course indulging once in a while. That's the way to go. So you don't have to deprive yourself of anything. You just get the right balance of a healthy diet, regular exercise, and avoid or smoking, moderate or limit alcohol, try to reach your ideal body weight. All this would go a long way in reducing your risk of developing a cancer, and some studies have showed that you could prevent 1 out of 3 or 4 cancers just by lifestyle changes and promotion of healthy lifestyle changes. And of course, we have early detection, which remains the pillar. Screening remains the pillar of diagnosing cancers when they're precancerous, that is, even before they become cancers, or early stage cancers. Like we have a very good example of, a colonoscopy detecting polyps, which are precancerous, something that could have become a cancer about 5 or 10 years later. We are detecting them and removing them completely. We have breast cancer with screening with mammogram. We have pap smears. So we have a lot of, we do have effective screening strategies. So early detection is, by screening, and not just that, but also, educating people about the early signs and symptoms to watch out in case of cancer. Listen to your body, Do your breast examination. If you have a pain anywhere, you feel you're losing weight without any reason. So some of the warning signs that will prompt an early a visit to a doctor, and instead of, have patients who have some kind of a nagging complaint, and they dismiss it, and in the busy life that we all have, they keep postponing a doctor's visit, and in the end, they turn up to have a stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. So
Mm-hmm.
I think educating people about this, that's a very important. I would call not the first pillar. I would call maybe the foundation for
Mm-hmm.
which we can, build up on everything else. Preventing cancers and making more survivors.
Mm.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very important step.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. This is, I think, important for, as you say, thrivers to know that, organizations such as the World Health Organization, such as Health City, Cayman Islands, are taking this diagnosis extremely seriously. You're not just another number, but your story is unique and different. And there is initiatives afoot to try to reduce the number of cases and to also prolong the survival rate, if you will. So, the importance of diversity in care. Let's talk a little bit about this and what this means exactly. So, every patient that you come in contact with has a unique story, a unique face, unique genetic background, and even unique environmental factors that have to be taken into consideration. So, how important is personalized, individualized, and compassionate care that looks at all of these things, everything from cultural awareness and sensitivity? Traditionally, Caribbean people have been very, very apprehensive about talking about cancer openly. Like, we are very, like the C word is like a bad word, for a lot of us. Like, when we're diagnosed with it, we want to hide our diagnosis. We don't want to talk about it. And so, in the context even of the Caribbean and Cayman culture, I'm sure you've come across some very unique situations. So, talk a little bit, Dr. Vinitha, if you can, about the importance of diversity in care.
Yeah, so the diversity, encompasses a whole lot of different factors, like starting from the gender. I would say men are more reluctant to come out and talk about their healthcare issues. So a lot of them are diagnosed with more advanced cancers, while women seem to be a bit more open when coming to, listening to their body and coming out with their problems to a doctor, seeking attention. It starts from there. And of course, we have, cultural backgrounds, their financial, their educational, status. So, and also religious beliefs, family beliefs, and of course race. All that come into play at throughout their journey. It could start from the patient or person first suspecting a cancer to when and how do they seek their diagnosis, who do they go to first. So a lot of people do not go to a doctor when they find something is wrong with them. They try traditional medicine, they try their, but I'm not saying there's anything wrong with traditional medicine, because some of them are really helpful, useful, that it improves their symptoms and stuff like that. But it should go parallelly. I like to call them as complementary therapies or supplementary therapies rather than alternative therapies.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're suspecting, you find a breast lump, the first person that you go to is someone who is not a medical doctor, and you try herbal remedies, I can assure you it's not going to go away. But people do like to believe, so they believe that yes, of course, some symptoms may get relieved, like pain, but the cancer is not going to go away. So I always, you have to do what you have to do, and then parallelly you can, with the approval of your doctor, you can do your natural remedies or herbs. So I don't mind. I really welcome some of the things that they do, but that it starts from there. So seeking medical attention. Then when you have a diagnosis of cancer, some will deal with it with denial, And one of the biggest myths that I have, heard perpetuated by the social media or whoever it is that there is a universal cure for all cancers. There is a miracle cure for cancers, but the medical group, the industry, or the healthcare teams are hiding it because they want to make money. And I'm fighting it all the time. And we have a lot of stuff peddled in the internet, like from parasitic medications to cocktails of various concoctions that they say it is a next miracle cure for cancer. But unfortunately, I have not seen anyone. I have not found any real scientific evidence out there to prove that this works. Without cancer treatment, or in my personal experience too, in my career, I've not found someone who has been cured with just these treatments. So it takes a lot of time, the first visit, to we have to deal with these perceptions too. It's important that the healthcare provider spends time addressing their questions and concerns about the diagnosis and what would possibly limit them from seeking the right care that they need.
Absolutely. And I think that this is important because as you say that, my mind turned to a recent story trending out of the UK. This beautiful young lady, only 23 years old, unfortunately is no longer with us because her mother decided to influence her about this alternative treatment using daily coffee enemas instead of, getting proper medical treatment. And it seems that her parents were, branded as conspiracy theorists, and they had all sorts of ideas. And so now her mother is facing charges in relation to her death. So this is really quite an interesting story. But the type of cancer she had was actually treatable and curable pretty much 80% with traditional medicine. And because, her mom was, and the interesting thing is she actually had a medical background. She was struck off as a nurse in 2021 because of her views on COVID misinformation. She's part of the Nursing and Midwifery Council Committee in the UK. And they actually struck her off from being a nurse because she's putting out what they said was harmful information in the public domain. So folks, everyone, even some people maybe with a medical background might give you what they say is good advice, but you really need to speak to the people who are the experts in this area and who deal with patients every single day, because they know what is on the cutting edge of cancer treatments. And as Dr. Vinitha said, some treatments may not necessarily be harmful to you, and they can be used supplementary to help. But you also have to know that there's some so-called, bush medicine or herbal treatments that when you have a diagnosis such as breast cancer and your system is already compromised, that can actually be worse for you to take. So talk to your physicians, make sure that they know if you're taking any supplements, and they can advise, what medical evidence has said about those things. So the one thing, of course, that we know is that early detection is the key for all cancers, but in particular breast cancer. It has proven time and time again that early detection for women is significant. It can reduce the rate of more complications further on, and the just the survival rate is increased significantly when early detection becomes part of the equation. So we're going to talk about some of those things here today, but we have a thought here that early detection isn't one size fits all. What does that mean?
So we have the guidelines, which it says that, okay, you start screening at this age and then you stop screening at this age between, like for breast cancer, they say, recommendation is you start screening at the age of 40, between 40 and 44, you can do a mammogram every 2 years. Between 45 and 54 years of age, that's when, the incidence of breast cancer is highest. You do a mammogram every year. And then after that, you could have the option of doing it once in 2 years until you are healthy. There's no upper limit for breast cancer screening. This is the recommendation of the American Cancer Society, and various groups have different, guidelines. NHS has its own, and then the USSDF that has some other guidelines, but these are only guidelines. But me to say they are not written in stone. And if I have a young lady with, for example, who is a survivor of a cancer in the past, who had radiation to the chest, or if there is someone with a strong family history of cancer, and who has a genetic mutation that causes cancer, I would not follow these guidelines. I would start screening earlier, and I would probably use MRI for screening rather than mammogram, or probably I would do both. So some of the highest risk cancer group, breast cancer group, they need to have screening twice a year, not once a year or once in 2 years. They need to have an MRI of the breast, and after 6 months they need to have a mammogram ultrasound. So only then will we'll be able to detect these cancers early enough. So just a mammogram, the routine guidelines that we use for the normal or the regular at-risk person is not what we will use for people with higher risk of cancers. So for each person who is planning to start a mammogram screening, or someone who thinks that their risk of breast cancer may be high, maybe because of family history, it is important to speak to a medical doctor, GP, internist, or even an oncologist if they're available, to assess their individual risk. And we have various scorings available. We have calculators. We have risk calculators that can tell, okay, the general population risk is 1 out of 8 people in the world can develop breast cancer, but it may be much higher for you. You may be, with your gene, you may have a 70 to 80% of the risk of developing cancer. So we have risk calculators that tell us if this person needs an enhanced screening or not. So it's important to, speak to a doctor to assess your personalized risk for a cancer.
All right, we do have a young lady who's in the studio with us this morning, Miss Judy Jackson. She actually has had a breast cancer diagnosis and she's a survivor. So we do want to speak to Miss Judy this morning. So let's go ahead and bring her in. Good morning, Miss Judy. How are you?
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Dr. Binoy.
Morning, Judy. Morning, Janae.
Yes. Good morning, Judy. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with breast cancer and perhaps your story of when you were diagnosed with this?
Good morning to everyone.
Yes. Good morning.
First of all, I want to give thanks to God and to His grace and mercy to bring me through what I have went during my journey. In last 2024, like around June, July, I was feeling a bit discomfortness in my left breast. And I came home from work one day and examined myself, and I felt this lump under my arm. And I contacted my family doctor, and I saw him the following day, and yes, he said he didn't see it if I had a surgeon, but at the time I didn't have a surgeon, so he recommended me to someone. Then after I went through all sort of exams, which we did a mammogram over, and it didn't show anything as well. Then we did an MRI, a CT scan. We did all of the above that you can do to detect, and there was no sign. So he recommended to do a biopsy, which I was a little bit hesitant to do a biopsy. I wanted just to get the surgery done to get the lump removed. But then he said, no, he doesn't do it that way. I need to get it done. But then at the time I was in a process to travel with my youngest to a school trip. And I went with the school trip, and after I came back, I say, you know what, let me just get this done. So I did the biopsy, and there where it appears that I have stage 2 breast cancer.
Hmm. Wow. Now, what was your hesitation? You said that you didn't want to do a biopsy. You just wanted to remove it. Dr. Benoit, can we talk a little bit about that? Because I think that that's probably a very common response. People are like, okay, if I have a lump, why don't you just take it out? What are we testing it for? Why are biopsies important?
Yeah, so that's a very important thing to discuss, because a lot of people, there's a myth that a biopsy causes cancer to spread. I think that makes people fearful of having a biopsy. They think, when you put a thing and the tumor ruptures and the cancer spills out, and someone in their family had a biopsy and then they died, and a lot of hesitation in getting a biopsy. I must tell you that in properly trained hands, well trained hands, that is usually a surgeon or an interventional radiologist, a biopsy anywhere in the body is extremely safe and doesn't cause the cancer to spread, and wouldn't definitely migrate your stage from stage 1 to stage 4 just by doing a biopsy. So that's a concern that a lot of people ask me, I don't want a biopsy because it's going to spread or rupture the tumor. Of course, it has to be done by a properly trained surgeon or a radiologist. I mean, that matters, of course. The other issue is why to get a biopsy. I mean, people do come to me with the same concern as Judy's. Why don't you remove the whole lump? And which is what we used to do about 30 years ago, before we knew more about the nuances of treating breast cancer. So we know that breast cancer, when it's already a small lump, like maybe about 5 millimeter or 1 centimeter in size, it's already inside the blood vessels. That is a specialty about breast cancers. A lot of cancers move into the cancer cells, spread into the blood or lymphatics when they are big, like 5 centimeter, but not so with breast cancer. So even if you have a 5 millimeter or 1 centimeter lump, there are what you call circulating tumor cells, breast cancer cells in your lymphatics and blood. So it is important to deal with them. And we now know that I would say about 50% of breast cancers would need some chemotherapy, targeted therapy before surgery to have the maximum or the best outcomes, because we are kind of sterilizing the tumor cells that may already be in the blood. And then you go for surgery, the outcomes are so much better. The smaller the tumor is at the time of surgery, the better it is for long-term survival. But sometimes we need to do less after surgery if you do it before surgery. You understand what I mean? So we tailor the treatment based on responses and all that. Sometimes we have to do more. So this is personalized care. And to do all this, to determine the right treatment, we need to have a biopsy, and we need to know the biomarkers like the estrogen receptor, the HER2 receptor, and the growth rate of the tumor and stuff like that. This is for breast cancer. It's the same with all cancers. So that is why it was important for Judy to have a biopsy and not just go ahead and, have a mastectomy and remove everything. People do think that, that's the best approach, because take it out, and then I don't need to do anything, but that is not true. That is not the right way to deliver treatment here.
Right. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, Miss Judy, when you heard the doctor say to you, was this during a routine checkup that you said you had some discomfort, but were you actually doing routine checks yourself, like self-exams and going to the doctor already? Or, it was just because of this pain that you thought, okay, something isn't right?
Well, the most funniest thing is that the February of 2024, I had done a mammogram, which didn't show anything. And then during this time that I feel the discomfort, yes, I am a person that normally I will check myself. And I guess that's the reason why I had felt the lump, because it was just like I felt like something wasn't right on my left side, and I checked myself that day and find that was there. Yeah.
Wow. Now, Dr. Vinitha, we hear this story a lot. People are getting mammograms done, and mammograms are sometimes missing stuff. What do you say to patients who go, well, wait a minute, what's the point of getting a mammogram done if we're still hearing stories where it actually misses, a cancerous lump?
Yeah, so mammograms may miss cancers that grow very fast. So typically, we do mammograms once a year, once in 2 years, depending on the age. But there are some really aggressive cancers, like the triple negative cancers or HER2 positive cancers. They grow really fast. They can grow between mammograms. So most of the times, you say, "Oh, I had a mammogram in October, but now in January or February, I'm finding, a lump." So that is usually the case in aggressive cancers. Then mammogram may also miss findings in people with extremely dense breasts. So young up women or women with extremely dense breasts, a mammogram may not pick up anything. And you probably need an ultrasound along with it, a high quality ultrasound, or an MRI to figure out what is happening in the tissue of women with extremely dense tissue. And this is usually the case of younger women, premenopausal women. Some of them have really, mammogram is not a good tool. And of course, the quality of mammogram, the interpretation, right? I mean, what kind of a machine are you using? Are you using tomography? And who interprets the mammogram? And ideally, you should do the mammogram in the same place that you've been doing it before. So that's very important to do the mammogram in a quality, in a high quality images and reporting. So these are some of the situations we find when mammogram misses, and then you find a diagnosis of breast cancer. So it's important to if you feel this mammogram, as I said, if you feel it's that's why despite all the screening modalities, it's important to do breast self-examination and breast awareness, like what made Judy go to the doctor, right? And she acted on it on time and went to the doctor, and that's why the cancer was early. If she had waited, saying, a lot of people do that, oh, my mammogram was okay, so this must be something that will go away, and then leading to a later diagnosis.
Very, very interesting. Denny says, why not do an MRI? I mean, is there an argument for replacing mammography with MRIs?
Well, there's not really, because the MRI is also, it's sometimes too sensitive. I know there's no radiation, but an MRI may not be, of course, it's expensive too, and not a very comfortable, it's when you have to go into the MRI machine and stuff like that. But with the latest technology, the good quality mammograms machines that we have, a combination of, especially for the older patients, a mammogram is just enough. The amount of radiation that we get is very low. The number of callbacks and more tests that we have to do with the latest technologies is very minimal. So if you look at the cost, benefit, and risk effects, a mammogram may absolutely be enough for some of our patients. Most of our patients, I would say, will not miss a diagnosis.
Okay. All right. So it's good to obviously know all of these things. Now, can we ask you, Miss Judy, where are you now in your journey?
Well, thanks to God, I am cured. I am over with the cancer. I did my chemotherapy, I did my surgery, I did my radiation, and I am healed. Thanks to God and the doctors and everyone that was around me during my journey. It was a bitter and sweet due to, it's not something that you expect in your life. But when these moment comes around and you have, for example, I have God with me, and I wasn't afraid, I wasn't fear of what was coming. I know it's a process that I have to go through and to get it done. So with the help of doctors, my family and friends and everyone that was there for me, I went through it.
Wonderful. Yes. That's such a testimony. One of the things, Dr. Vinitha, here, definitely in the Caribbean, but so many places around the world, a person's faith is very, very important in getting them through a diagnosis like this. How important have you found that faith has been to your patients here in the Cayman Islands?
It's extremely important that, people derive their strength from faith, from God, from the prayers. And it's not just individual prayers. So it is group, healing. Like, you have your church group, your friends praying for you. It sends you a lot of, I believe in that. I send in positive vibes, healing you and giving you the strength to deal with it. So a lot of people who are maybe, I don't know, they don't have the faith. They probably, I have found them fighting the diagnosis. Acceptance comes a bit late. There's a lot of denial. But I do find that people with strong, religious beliefs and faith, they go through, navigate the journey a little bit easier. I would say there are cases with that, but definitely helps them. And I always tell them, tell my patients that God helps those who help themselves. So you do your part, and then you leave it to God. I mean, that's why I am a believer too. So I follow that principle, and I think that helps everybody in their journey, not just the patient but the family too.
Yeah, so utilizing the modern medicine that is available to you, but also obviously staying just steadfast to your faith. And listen, I mean, people can believe what they want. I know that we have a wide cross section of listeners who some are not believers in anything spiritual, but the evidence has proven that if you are a believer in, it doesn't have to be a singular God, but if you have strong faith, that really works miracles when it comes to your recovery and going through illnesses in life, and you have better outcomes because you have something to believe in. So there's definitely something to be said for that, for sure. So we want to, Ms. Judy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I understood that you were a little bit nervous. There's no need to be nervous about talking to us. And you have is this your daughter, beautiful
Yes,
Janae, with
ma'am.
you?
Yes, Mom. This is my daughter, Janae. I'm a mother of three. I have a son of 30 years, which is Daniel Taylor. I have Janae is 18, and I have Jada, which is 10. So
Okay.
they was my biggest motivation along with my husband. They was there for me. I mean, it was a journey that I had them by my side, and
Yes.
I'm very thankful. Yes.
Beautiful. And Janae, if I could just ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. I mean, you're still very, very young, only 18 years old. What were your thoughts when you heard your mom? Did you tell the kids right away, or did you wait, Miss Judy, before you told them?
No, I didn't wait. I went to the doctor, and by the
Mhm.
time I knew, my son was with me well, when I got the news, when I got my result from my biopsy,
Mhm.
I knew it wasn't good. I
Mhm.
see that I need to see an oncologist. So
Right.
I was prepared. I was prepared, and my son went with me, so he was aware of it. And
Mhm.
when I came home that evening, I said it to my youngest, and then yeah, we had a little sit down and talk, and they were very
Mhm.
sad to know, but then we pull everything together, and we went through it. June, my husband, was one of my biggest supports. So
Mhm.
yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, when I found out about it, my feelings in the moment, it was confusing, I would say.
Mhm.
I never really felt anything bad, but I had you when you like have certain things like this happen to you, it's like it's a
Mhm.
process, right? You have different stages. You have the
Mhm.
acceptance, the realization. And for me,
Mhm.
she doesn't know, but after she told me and my sister, I went inside the bathroom, and I was crying out to God, and I was telling him, Lord, please don't allow her to leave this world, because I, as a follower of Jesus Christ and a believer, I know that there are certain things in life that God would allow to happen, even if it may hurt us, but throughout that whole process, it was just us and God. Really, it was just faith, and we, in having the faith, I feel like especially like what Dr. Benita said, in just having faith, I feel like when your body gives up,
Yes.
when your mind gives up, your body gives up as well.
Mhm.
And through that whole process, it allowed not just her to grow, but it
Mhm.
allowed the whole family to grow. And it's kind of sad of the like fact that certain things like this has to happen to certain families for them to actually realize how they're worth to each other and to like fully love each other. But I thank God that we went through that process, because it taught us to like love my mother and appreciate her even more. But even with like it was really a whole process, but through the whole process I just
Mhm.
stayed strong. And once we all stayed strong, she was able to
Mhm.
stand firm
Yes.
herself. So
Wow. What an amazing story, Miss Judy. I'm sure you're so thankful to have the family that you do have.
Yes.
Now, Janae, as a young lady, you're probably now thinking this increases my chances of getting breast cancer. So, what are your thoughts about what you need to do with your own health care and just your general health, and maybe starting screening? Dr. Dr. Vanitha, have you had that discussion with Janae as well?
Yeah, so one of the first steps we did was test Judy for any genetic mutation that may
Mhm.
possibly cause the breast cancer, but thankfully she's tested negative. So
Mhm.
that itself reduces, her own chance, Judy's own chance of developing other cancers, and her daughter's and son's risk of developing breast cancer. So that's an important step. Now we are encouraging everybody who's younger than 65, and possibly if anyone who can afford with a diagnosis
Mhm.
of cancer, to test for those mutations
Mhm.
that could possibly be passed on to your family members.
Right.
So she's tested negative. And in Janae's case, I would just recommend regular screening, but breast
Mhm.
awareness and self-examination, which I'm sure she's doing. Start doing. There's no age limit for that. Breast examination we can do at any age.
Mhm.
So I think that's what she should do, and she should start her screening at a regular interval. So we'll be having this chat, and Judy is a very, very loving, concerned mother. She's already had this conversation with me. So.
Mhm. Yes, that's wonderful. Well, Miss Judy and Janae and the rest of the family, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that this has not been an easy journey for you. Janae, as you were talking about your first response being to go into the bathroom and just cry, you were making me kind of remember. I had a sister who also was diagnosed with breast cancer. A lot of people might remember Anne James when she was quite young, actually. And when you first hear the news, a lot of times you don't know how to process it. You don't quite understand sometimes, especially when you were younger, because I was probably not far from your age, because I was just in university. And I remember thinking, I don't even know what that means. Like, am I understanding the medical terminology? There was just so many questions, but I can tell you that sometimes having a good cry really helps you to start the steps of just processing it, because you just need that release. It's just something that is, it's hard to explain until you've kind of been in that situation. But some years ago, I went by the Breast Cancer Foundation here, and they do such amazing work. And someone was inquiring about vouchers. You can get vouchers through them. If you can't afford a mammography, please reach out to them. They're one of the organizations that helps with these types of things. And as I was sitting there talking to the ladies who were, they work in the office, and they were talking about the things that they do and how they try to offer counseling services to the families, all the support that you need around you during a diagnosis like this. I had one of those moments, Janae, where I just burst out crying, and it felt so weird and so misplaced. And I couldn't in the moment explain exactly why I was even crying, right? But I think just knowing people who've been close to us, who've gone through this, it's a very emotional situation for sure. So I thank both of you for having the courage, Miss Judy and Janae, this morning, for having the courage to come and
Thank you.
share.
I
Sure.
I want to give thanks as well to the Health City group, Dr. Benoy and the radiologists and all of them. They were so caring and very motivative as well. And they help us put things through as well. And my advice to all out there, anyone who go through this, just be strong. Just be strong and believe in yourself and put
Yes.
God first and make He do the rest because He will.
Is it okay if I add on to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like what you were saying, and like with you crying, I
Yeah.
feel like the most important part as well is not only just to be strong, but to allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Yes.
To allow yourself to cry when you need to cry. Because I feel like when people try to put themselves in that box, in that shell, to always have their face smiling, to always
Yep.
be that strong person, that's when you're not allowing yourself to let go and feel free and to fully
Yes.
accept. And when you fully accept, that's like you're just gonna go through the process like you're at peace, really. So that's a really important thing for people to know. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and to know that many things may be going wrong, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be something that's going to last forever. It's going to be something contemporary.
Wow. How did you become so smart, Janae?
Thank you.
That's why I
get
have
it from her. My strong, firm foundation was built with her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing, Miss Judy. You must be so proud.
I am very proud. I'm very proud. My children, they make me a proud mom. My husband as well is a very supportive and encouraging husband. Thank God. And friends and families as well.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had the right kind of supporter around you.
I
which is
did.
important.
I did. In no moment, my fear had made me feel that,
Yes.
down because with when you have people who cares, it make a lot different. It make it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much. And we wish you continued good health. And I'm sure that you'll be following Dr. Vinitha's advice and doing all of the follow-up things that you have
I
to do
will.
to make sure that you remain as healthy as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us as well.
Yes,
God bless. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Bye-bye. Wow, Dr. Vinitha, that was so impactful. Miss Lisa says, "Good morning, everyone. Crying is a healing medicine. That is why God has given us tears." And I think there are probably a lot of people this morning, even sitting in their cars and listening to the story, who, having an emotional response, as I am, quite frankly. When you put faces to it and experiences, this is how, when we talk about the unique journey and the personalization of it, this is really what we mean. So there was some information that you mentioned earlier, and Jasmine said, well, informative. Thank you so much to Dr. Vinitha. This empowerment through knowledge being one of the key things that is so important. And Shamari, I know that there's a lot of organizations. There's a Lions Club, for example, Tropical Gardens, and others who really work hard every single year to bring information to the community, to connect them with physicians such as Dr. Vinitha and others who are on the leading edge of, ensuring that they remain knowledgeable about treatments and diagnosis and just the gamut of information that they have to have available to them to then educate their patients and educate the general public. How important do you think, Shamari, it is? And I know that you guys support these organizations, so I know that you value them, but how important is their education? Because when we're talking about empowerment through knowledge, this can't be just the physicians that are doing that. It takes the entire community, right?
No, definitely. And sorry. And the great thing is, even before Health City was here, you had the Cancer Society, you had the Breast Cancer Foundation that have been doing great things over the years, as well as you mentioned Lions and the such. So they always understood the need to educate, and then obviously with Health City coming in and other medical institutions, you also help to supplement as well as to deliver outside of the preventative care when you actually do need treatment. The latest in technology, the latest obviously in evidence, and the tools that Dr. Vinitha and the Health City, the others within our oncology unit from the Health City team will bring to bear. And it all is important to help with that first component that you spoke about from the WHO, where you want to reduce mortality by 2.5% each year, leading to 2.5 million lives saved by 2040. It all plays a vital role to be able to achieve that. And even when it comes to Dr. Vinitha herself, for instance, we have a partnership with Dana-Farber, which is the medical arm of Harvard. A lot of non-medical persons don't realize who Dana-Farber is, but it's the medical arm. When you say Harvard, then people realize the quality behind it, as well as the expertise from an educational perspective. A lot of times there's collaboration, there's learning on both sides, and even Dr. Vinitha went and visited Dana-Farber recently to also continue to enhance her skill set to make sure that we are giving not only our residents, but all of the people who come see us from the Caribbean and the sister islands, as well as Central America and the Americas, that we are giving them the best when it comes to medical knowledge, as well as obviously with new techniques, as well as the tried and tested diagnostic equipment and treatments that we're able to bestow to the community. So, Sandy, it's very important, and we all play a role, and that's why I think we're fortunate in the Cayman Islands that we have so many NPOs, and for various, but especially from a cancer care perspective, there are a lot of NPOs that are helping to do a great job from education, as well as with vouchers and otherwise. When Dr. Vinitha mentioned somebody may not be able to afford, we have organizations that are able to help persons to gain access to technology that's available on island. Sandy? No.
My apologies. Yes. I was just saying, Dr. Vinitha, we have some closing remarks here this morning as we wrap up. What do you think is a takeaway for patients, to really consider here today?
Yeah. So, so cancer is a journey. It is not, it is not a 100-meter dash. It is a marathon. And you can't walk it alone. You need the support of, and you don't have to, and you won't be able to achieve optimal outcomes if you try to do it all by yourself. It's important to seek the support of whatever, everyone around you, not just family, friends, but also the resources available to you in your community. And listen to your doctor, trust the system, make sure that you get a second opinion if you are in doubt from the right person. And I would like to say that if there is a miracle cure for not just cancer, any disease out there, it is quality health care. So you have to seek quality health care. And I think that would be the single most thing that would improve your, outcomes, or make sure that you have the optimal outcomes. So you have to focus on this, and obviously keep your faith. Cancer is not a death sentence anymore. There are more and more survivors of various types of cancers, and you have new innovations, not just medications, but in radiation, surgery, technologies that can also help cure cancer. And of course, promoting healthy lifestyle choices, adopting healthy lifestyle choices, and being aware of your body, and seeking medical attention if you feel there is something wrong with you. That these are all key factors that will ensure that you have good outcomes even if you're diagnosed with cancer.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And we do want to remind our listeners of the amazing organizations that are out there that offer vouchers, not just in the month of October, but year round. Please reach out to the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. They do free mammogram, financial assistance, counseling services, and advocacy for breast cancer patients. And you also have the Breast Cancer Foundation of Cayman, who offer educational programs, again, early detection initiatives, and financial supports. And we want to also remind people that you are part of the support as a community. We're all members who can help support others who are going through this journey by means of donating, volunteering your time, and also getting educated, so that when someone in your life, whether it's a sister, an aunt, a cousin, comes to you to say, I have this diagnosis now, you are better equipped to step up to the plate and to assist them, making sure that you have correct information. Maybe you're just going to be, the cousin that goes to appointments with them. You can be some form of support for them as well. So thank you so much to Dr. Vinitha. Thanks, Shamari, and the entire Health City Cayman Islands team for having this discussion today. Very, very important topic as the world really focuses on breast cancer awareness in the month of October.
Definitely. Thank you, Sandy,
Thank you.
as always. And see you next week. And guess what?
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
wife distracted me so much, I forgot to get that mug that I was trying to get from Germany and Austria. So I came back with no mug.
South Africa.
Yeah,
Is that
so I
the
still
South
only have
African
South
one?
Africa. Yeah.
Oh, I do have a question for you, actually, Shamari. One of our listeners, they wanted to know the following. They said, ask Shamari if he incorporates weights in his fitness regime as well. So are you doing any weight lifting, or
Well,
your weight loss has just been, you attribute to just the cardio at this point?
yeah. I mean, I'm doing mostly cardio, but I have free weights that I also use, but that isn't, I don't think that necessarily is contributing to it, but that's just, I always use free weights even when I wasn't exercising. So, gotta make sure I can still beat the boys at basketball.
Yes.
You
Wonderful.
you see, when you have the old man strength, then you can throw them around, and even though they're quicker than you, you can still beat them. So I use those weights regardless.
Wonderful. And weight training is important. It actually helps you burn a lot of calories, more than you think, really, but it's all part of the progress. So Lisa says, Miss Sandra, I'm also a breastfeeding cancer survivor. It is great when you have a relationship with God, that your faith, family, and physician that believes in God. Thank you so much, Miss Lisa, for sharing that with us. Really, really appreciate it. We had a young lady also joining us from Belize this morning. So, CMR, Miss Clara was watching from Belize. So CMR has got listeners all over the world tuned in. Thank you again to Dr. Vinitha and Shamari Scott.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Have a
good
great
one.
day.
All right, folks. So I'm happy to report that we've just received confirmation from the RCIPS that the roadway has been cleared now. So this is an update as a result of this vehicular fire this morning. Very, very pleased to say that the roadways have been cleared. So we will post that up here on social media. I didn't get to post the original as quickly as I wanted to, but of course, you can only multitask so many ways before you had to stop, right? So I wanted to make sure that my focus this morning was on this interview with Health City Cayman Islands and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But we can now update that we've just received confirmation from the RCIPS that the roadway has been reopened, and that just came in. So if you were stuck in it, I guess you will no longer be stuck in traffic, and you can make your way into work now, or wherever it is that you were going this morning. All right, beautiful. So we'll post that now by way of an update, and my apologies for only being able to make the announcement here. I was sort of rendering some stuff in the background. All right, so folks, yesterday was a very, very interesting discussion. We were talking about cynical woes and issues, and also, HSA was in the mix. And so I can give you somewhat of an update, actually. I think Elizabeth might be listening this morning, but let me provide you with an update that within a very short space of time, she had received some forward movement on her situation. So the HSA did reach out to her about her mother's chiropractic needs and the fact that, she had gone through, really a situation and trying to get continuing pain management care. And if you've ever suffered from chronic pain, I mean, if you haven't, I guess you should consider yourself lucky. But if you have, you know what it feels like to just have every fiber of your day impacted by that pain, right? And if you can get any sort of relief from the physicians or chiropractors or just, oh my God, there's so many, acupuncturists. There's so many services out there that can really help with pain management. You grab at the opportunity. Trust me, I know. So I'm glad to hear that there's some forward movement on that front this morning. So Elizabeth, so happy that you're able to help your mom, Miss Jean, hopefully get this resolved in a positive manner. But there's a lot of broader issues that were highlighted yesterday as a result of the discussion. So we have to have these discussions. I've already reached out to both ministers connected to both the HSA, which would be Minister, the Honorable Kathy Wilkes, and also the Honorable Ralston Anglin, who Seneca falls under his remit. I have reached out to both of them, and we are really hoping to have a discussion with them on how they can address some of these issues. So I believe that Minister Wilkes is actually traveling, so her response has been delayed, but Minister Anglin responded immediately, and he says, yes, we definitely need to address some things and to have a conversation. So being very, very responsive there. Thank you so much to the Honorable Ralston Anglin. All right, so we do have an interview that I'm going to play at this time, and it is in relation to the Second Chances program. Now, this came about as a result, this interview came about as a result of CMR having done an exclusive story on Mr. Bruce. Let me just get his correct name because he's changed his name. Bruce Stevenson. I think it's Stevens or Stevenson Blake. So apparently he's taken his wife's name, which is unusual. This part of the world, and other places in the world, they do it all the time. But I don't hear of Caribbean men ever doing it. Not for nothing, but you guys are not usually that progressive. So his name is now Bruce Stevens Blake. I mean, I suspect he's changed it. He didn't say why the name changed, but I suspect it was done as a result of, all the bad press from the whole CIFA football scandal and his incarceration. So you guys might remember that Bruce Blake, now Bruce Stevens Blake, was found guilty in, I think it was 2023 and sentenced. So it's been a minute already. And he was sentenced to, I believe, 2 years in this CIFA fraud case. Now, Watson, his co-accused, Canova Watson, was found guilty of 6 counts, including, secret commissions, money laundering, etc. Whereas Blake was sentenced and he was found guilty of sort of lesser offenses. I'm trying to remember how many. He only got 3.5. Wait a minute. No, hold on. So Blake was sentenced to 2 years, I believe, and then it was discounted to 18 months. No, 3 years, but it was discounted. I'm just looking at the article quickly. 3 years, but it was discounted to 18 months on 1 count due to mitigating factors of good character, a long delay in the case, and a low risk of reoffending. He was sentenced to 2 years on the 2nd count, with both to run concurrently. I need to go back and see what the counts were. So it says that Watson's defense argued, no, not Watson. Where's Blake? Blake was accused of entering into several arrangements with Watson to facilitate the laundering of the criminal property. And the court heard that Blake made false statements to CIFA's auditors about the origin of 2 loans used to pay down an existing loan the local football association had with Fidelity Bank. Blake, in his defense, said that he did not know the money sent to him by Watson were criminal property. And of course, according to his lawyer, of trusting his long-term friend, Canova Watson. So anyway, needless to say, he was sentenced, and I guess he's now out and looking for a job. And so we, received reliable information that he was hired in the Cayman Islands Fire Service and the Civil Service as a management support advisor. So naturally, we did the story after verifying, and there were a lot of questions around how he was selected and what this Second Chances program is. So as you guys know, whenever possible, we like to get to the source of things. We like to get to the bottom of things. And so I vaguely remember hearing something about this Second Chances program, but not really a whole lot. So I thought, right, this is a program out of the Deputy Governor's office. Let me just reach out to Deputy Governor Frans Manderson and have a word with him. And as always, I must say, one thing about the Deputy Governor is he tends to be very, very open to interviews and to public discussions. So he did agree. And on Friday, I conducted this interview. So I want you to sit back and listen to this, and then we can have a broader discussion on some of the questions that came out of this, and hopefully, my apologies, some of the answers as well that you may have received. Here we go, folks. We want to welcome our listeners to the program. We're also going to be welcoming the Deputy Governor, Mr. Frans Manderson, who is joining us today for an in-depth conversation on the Cayman Islands government's Second Chance program. So this has been described as a transformative initiative that it's giving ex-offenders a genuine opportunity to rebuild their lives and contribute positively to our community. The discussion is very, very timely because recently we heard about the appointment of Mr. Bruce Stevens Blake to senior position within the Cayman Islands Fire Service shortly after his release from prison, an example that brings the goals and challenges of this program directly into sharp focus. As a result of that, there were a number of questions that, came out of the article that was published, I guess exclusively, I don't see anybody else that has covered it, on Cayman Mall Road. And we had a number of concerns that our readers brought up. And so, Mr. Manderson, thank you so much, as always, for being willing to address any issues or concerns that our community has that falls within your remit directly. And this is yet but another example of that. So welcome and thanks for the opportunity.
No, thank you for having me, Sandra, and good day to the people of the Cayman Islands. It's good to be with you again.
Mm-hmm. So give us a little bit of a history.
Right.
Because I think that one of the things that struck me as interesting when we published the stories, a lot of people had never heard of this Second Chances program. So tell us how the program came about, when, and really what is the objective?
So thank you. So this program has been around, I would think, it was basically shortly after I became Deputy Governor. I listened to your show, other people talk shows, listen to members of the community, talk about what are we doing for our people who have a conviction and has simply been almost treated as an outcast as a result of that conviction. Some persons have had convictions early in their lives and have never been able to become a productive member of the community since, because they have this stigma of having a conviction. So the civil service is the largest employer in the Cayman Islands. I think we should do everything we can to set the standard for HR practices. So I challenged my team, I would say maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, to come up with a Second Chances program. And we did. And the program, I think, has been very successful. I just got some latest statistics. We've had 21 persons come through the program. So basically what we have is that we ask the government of the day, and I must thank successive governments for continuing to fund the program. So basically the portfolio of the civil service has an appropriation, a pool of funds that we can use for this program. And when we have a candidate come through, so candidates apply through the WRC, and they're spoken to there by a member of the team, and then sent over to, we have a staff member who is assigned to work with our potential candidates. So what we look for is obviously people that have a conviction, who has worked hard to rehabilitate themselves, people who, is this a one-off thing? Is this something that is completely out of character and they made a mistake, or they have had a conviction, like I said, early in their life, and they have now been leading a productive life, trying their best to integrate back into the society, but has been unable to. So I said, let us lead by example. Let us be let us be the solution. So we've had the program, and I must say that I have been very pleased with the success. So I remember our first candidate that I can recall was a young lady who had a conviction, who had been unable to find employment for, I think, over 6 years. She was given a job, and she has now become a permanent member of the civil service. So what we do is we have the pot of money, which means we can bring you into the service quite quickly without having to find money in a particular ministry or department. We then fund that person, and if we say to the department, if you feel that person is performing, then you can ask for a budget to cover them down the road. So we look at how we can be the solution for our Caymanians in the community. So, like, as I said, it has worked. What we do, persons apply, we vet them, we have a chat with the police, we have a chat with whatever unit of the police was investigating them. And then we are very careful about where we place people. So if you have a drug conviction, we're not going to put you at a port, or we're not going to put you somewhere where you could be pressured into doing something that you were convicted of before, or that you have that desire to do something again. So we're very careful about where we place people. So if you've been convicted of financial crime, we're not going to put you in our finance department. The civil service is large enough where we can move people around to different areas. Public Works has been a shining example of where we have placed a number of young men. Also, the Department of Agriculture has been very cooperative, but other departments have stepped in and helped us out as well. So we have, I think, been very pleased, and I think the public should be pleased that we are doing our best to help our persons who need a second chance. Just recently, I met with a young man who has not had a job for 4 years. Sometimes I speak to these people personally. I want to see, who they are, what they're about. This man walked into my office, Sandy, very deflated, and of the view that his community had given up on him. And he said, "Mr. Manderson, I want to work. I just want a job. I have been doing everything I can to try to make a living, but I am struggling. I just want a chance."
Mhm.
And when I informed him that he had been successful, the person who walked into my office was not the person that walked out. The young man, I could see that he felt valued and appreciated, and he said, Mr. Manager, I can't thank you enough. I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to work my tail off to prove that I deserve this chance. I want to thank you and the government for giving me this opportunity. So, that's what it's all about, is trying our best to give our people a second chance. Otherwise, they will become a recidivist and maybe go back to prison. So let us do our endeavor best to give our Caymanians. We've been talking about this for years. So let us now celebrate the program that we have and support the program that we have.
Okay, well, that certainly gives us a bit of history, because I must tell you that I found it interesting that most of our people, although you said this has been, in existence for well over 10 years, most people don't seem to know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many persons could have taken advantage of it or tried to that didn't, because they'd simply never heard of it before.
But I have been singing about this for a while. Every time I'm in Parliament, I'm giving an update on the budget or whatever. I talk about the program. We, I must tell you, we get quite a few people, coming forward and saying, I want to be part of the program. Something, the publication of this, I know, will now generate some more people wanting to come and be part of the program, and we welcome that. So I'm hoping that there will be some good publicity as a result of this, that people will want to come. Obviously, funds are limited. I don't have an unlimited budget, but the government of the day today, of this government, has also been supportive of the program. So I have every reason to believe that, in the new budget year, we will have an additional funds there where we can help some of our persons become productive citizens again.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. When you talk about the funding, so help me to understand that. Why do you require additional funding for the person? Is it just not filling an existing position within the civil service?
Right. So somebody comes, let us take, for example, at Public Works. Public Works will have a limited budget, and they may need an additional carpenter. They may need an additional handyman. They may need these things, but they don't have the budget. So they will say, Mr. Manager, we'd be happy to take the person on, but we simply doesn't have the budget. So rather than me asking 15 or 20 government departments to have a second chances program, I have asked the government to have the funds stored centrally, where we can manage it and use the money, monitor what's happening, and deploy the persons to various government departments. So certainly there's so much work to be done in the civil service. There's always lots of work for people to do. It's just sometimes we don't have, that particular department may not have the existing budget.
I see. But if there is a position that they could fill, would it be your remit then to fill existing positions that are already budgeted for and so on?
Right, exactly. So if there's an existing position, the law allows me to appoint people without open competition in certain circumstances for a certain period of time, and that's the provisions that we use for these for those persons. We also have a emerging talent program that is funded similarly for our young people coming back from school who have no experience but have a wonderful education. So we've been using that to get some of our young graduates coming in. The government of today has said, DG, we love that program. We're going to give you more money. Minister Miles has been very supportive, and along his colleagues. So stay tuned. We're going to have some good news to share, hopefully during the budget session, about how we're going to expand that program to give even more Caymanians who are coming back from school the opportunity to gain experience. We have heard about this for so long. I came back from college. I have a wonderful degree, but I can't get a job because I have no experience. Again, the civil service and the government stepped up and said, we want to be part of the solution, and we have now put that fund in place. And I had a really great example, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We had this wonderful young Caymanian come back who was who studied veterinary medicine, went to apply for the agriculture department, and they said, Mr. Manderson, we would love to have this person, but we don't have the budget. And we were able to fund that young lady, and now she's a permanent member of that department. So we have been doing some really great things in terms of getting Caymanians in the door, getting them trained up, but also giving second chances.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest components of this that was sort of controversial is there's this overarching feeling from some individuals that this wasn't completely transparent. And you just said something, I think, that explains perhaps further how the program works. So people who enter the Second Chances program, there's no open competition then. So even if they're applying for an existing position, it's not open or advertised? So
because this is a special program, and like I said, sometimes it is basically a tag along to a department that needs help but doesn't have the budget. So we could take that person on and give them the job temporarily, but tell the department, if you want to keep this person on long term, then you're going to have to fund it, and then you will have to look to comply with the other provisions of the law so that we get this done all correctly. So, for example, there were a couple of posts that we had where the persons got into the department, they really liked it, and the department kept them on, ran a competition, they applied, and they got the job. So there's some people who are still on a temporary basis that we're monitoring. So it has been very successful.
Okay. All right. Very, very interesting. So can I ask you, are the placements always on a temporary basis?
Yes. So we have to start off on a temporary basis.
Yes. Okay.
As per the law, because first of all, we don't know whether it's going to work out. So normally it's a 3 months contract to start off, and monitor it, and then see what happens after that. Again, most of the cases have been successful. Others have not. Only a few have not worked out. We had a young man who gained some knowledge with us and said, you know what, thank you very much, I'm going to start my own business. Kudos to him, that he got some experience with us, and now he is running his own business. So we've seen people that had decided for various reasons not to stay in the program, but we have given them an opportunity. And that's what the Cayman public has been asking for years. Can you give these people an opportunity?
Okay. All right. It's interesting. All right. So I think that certainly is necessary to explain to people that it is a temporary appointment. And then at some point, there could be an open competitive posting for the same position.
Yeah, there could be. If the person, like I said, not everyone stays with us. Some people leave. Some people are not conducting themselves the way we want to conduct themselves, and we part ways. That's been very few. But yeah, so I'm just saying that it works, and it is serving a good purpose in our community.
Right. Now, how are the placements under the program determined? So do you have a team of people that work in the Second Chances department? I mean, this is something
no. So basically, this is operated off the side of one staff member's desk who has a multitude of other jobs. And one of her things that she does exceptionally well is that she helps me run this program. So, we get people referred to us. We get people that apply. we've had the prison contact us and say, listen, this person is coming out. They have been doing job placements for the last year. Can you please look at this person, because they have been absolutely exemplary, and do you have an opportunity for them? So then if that person comes in and they meet the criteria, depending on all of the circumstances, we will then look for a department that may be willing to take that person that has a need, and that the person will be a good fit. Like I said, we're not going to put somebody who has committed financial crime in our finance department, or somebody with drugs at the port. So it has to be looking at as that they're going to be a good fit for us. And I don't want to put those persons where they can be tempted to do things that they did before. And again, it has worked successfully.
Okay. All right. Do you have any sort of a written policy? Like if someone, did an FOI to your area, can they see a written policy for how this program works, what the perimeters are, some of what we're talking about today, the guidelines, and so on?
Yeah, I'm sure we have it all written down. I'll just make sure. I know you've certainly been operating for a while, so yes, there would be some paperwork around it. Happy to, to share. But yeah, I think it's something that I hope the public will be proud of, that we're seeing our Caymanians not committing crimes, but working.
This last appointment, and I know obviously we can't go into anything that would breach, sort of personnel restrictions, right? But this last appointment was at a much higher level, I think, than most.
Yes.
And so for people who might be in the Cayman Islands Fire Service who said, Sandy, I've been working forever. I've gotten, they've said I needed this, I needed that. I've done every single thing that they told me that I needed to do in terms of qualifications. And yet I can't get a management support advisor role, or I can't get a promotion within the Cayman Islands Civil Service. And here we have someone who just walked out of jail and into position. How do you address those concerns?
Sure. Well, I hope that, that they will be proud of what we're doing here, but that would be a legitimate complaint. However, I don't know of any civil servant who has the qualifications of Mr. Blake. So I mean that I don't know of any civil servant, including myself, who has the qualifications of that individual. I'm not going to say any more other than to say that I think he is going to be a great asset to that department. It's a temporary role. If at a time we intend to make it permanent, then all members of the community, the fire service will have an opportunity to compete for that job if they have the qualifications that is needed. I want to commend Mr. Rankin at the department, the fire chief. He understands, and I have been in his shoes, where you are running a department and trying to improve it at the same time. One of the challenges that I had at immigration was you are constantly in the throes of dealing with customers, dealing with staffing matters, dealing with all of the various technical issues, but you're also trying to make your department better. Better at serving the public, better than taking care of your staff. Doing those things at the same time is a challenge. And what I had, and what now Mr. Rankin has more of, is someone who can take on difficult tasks and take on projects and have them to deliver. In other words, provide management support. I had that at the immigration department, and now Mr. Rankin has that there. And he's a young Caymanian fire chief, and we want to do everything we can to make him successful.
All right. And, if it's the case that there are people who are sitting there in the Cayman Islands Fire Service who thought that they should have gotten this position, naturally, they may not be as supportive of Mr. Bruce Blake, and my apologies, Stephen Blake now. What would you say to them if you know somehow he needs their support, what would you say to them if they're thinking, well, no, I've been sitting here for far too long, I have not gotten these opportunities, so I'm not going to play ball, so to speak?
Well, my view, Sandra, is that your actions should be in line with your opinions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us say, oh, I am supportive of Caymanians. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see my Caymanians getting the very best opportunities. Well, then your actions should go along with your opinions. So if I'm saying that I want to see Caymanians successful, and a Caymanian comes into my organization that is highly qualified, that I know can bring value, then I got an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm a little disappointed, but I'm going to give my fellow Caymanian an opportunity. Otherwise, you're going to have to say, well, you know, I want to support the Caymanians that I like, or I want to support the Caymanians that will do well for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not supporting Caymanians. You can't support Caymanians when
Mm-hmm.
it's convenient. You have to support Caymanians all the time. I knew that this decision that I made, and I take full responsibility for it, was going to be a bit controversial. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
hide it. We sent out an email blast telling everybody the man had joined the fire service. So, but again, I have to if my opinions, my actions must coincide with my opinions. My opinion is that Caymanian should have every Caymanian should have an opportunity in their country. And I took that decision. It can like me, dislike me, beat me up, criticize me, but I have made a decision that I think is going to help a Caymanian, that's going to improve the performance of our fire service. When we call them, they are always there. We have extremely brave and committed people at the fire service, and we want them to be performing at the highest level, to have the support, the training, everything, equipment. Mr. Blake is going to work hard to improve the performance of that department. We should be proud, and we should rally around him and give him every support that he needs. Otherwise, don't tell me you really support Caymanians.
All right. Let's talk a little bit, in the comment section. I must admit, I certainly didn't read all of the comments, but one that sort of stood out for me, that gave me pause, is there was a gentleman there. Well, he posted on social media, so anybody can see it. Mr. Fred McLaughlin. He said, well, I sure hope that I get this same opportunity. And well, Mr. Fred has quite a reputation for being incarcerated multiple times. He has a real, personality, it seems like, for being dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you heard, but he somehow convinced an elderly gentleman that he was selling turtle meat, and it was a mop head, right?
I've heard the story.
Yeah, lately he's been involved. I'm going to just put the comment up here. Lately, Fred has been involved in accusations, labor infractions, and just all sorts of stuff. So when I saw Fred's comment about he hoped that he'll also be given a second chance, I found it a little humorous, because he's probably on about his 10th chances now, not second. But is there a limit? Like, if someone is a repeat offender, like, say, for example, Fred McLaughlin, always in and out of jail, always scamming people, is there room for someone like this in your second chances program? Or is it just for someone who has one offense?
No. So, without speaking about Fred, who I know very well, was actually my classmate. As I said earlier, what we look for, and again, there's different criteria. So if you've had 10 convictions, but those convictions were 5 years ago, and you have shown us that you are trying to turn your life around, and that there's no further infractions of anything, you don't have any cases before the court, then we will look to see, well, this person went through a really bad time in their life, but now they have really worked hard to turn themselves around. There's a number of years with no conviction, so let's give them a second chance. I speak regularly with the Commissioner of Police to make sure that he doesn't have any concerns, him and his staff. If the person was before the Anti-Corruption Commission, I would have a chat with the Anti-Corruption Commission to say, I want to give this person a second chance. Do you have any concerns? And obviously, if they have any concerns at all, then we don't employ the person. And like I said, it's a very short-term contract that we give. And if there's any hint of misbehavior, then we can release that person.
And this concept of having a period of, compliance and being a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
If someone just got out of jail,
Yeah.
how do you explain that?
So,
'Cause obviously
you look at things like, is this, if what they've done indicative of their character? So if somebody does something that, they have had 30, 40 years of outstanding character, proven track record of success, and then they get in prison, then we would look at that to see, well, do we need to give this person 3 years to wait to see whether they're going to reoffend, or we can give them an opportunity now? So, and again, we look to see, well, what was the person convicted of? The violence, then certainly I would not be wanting to give that person who just got out of prison a job immediately because of the nature of the offense. If it was something else, then yeah, maybe we would take a look at it. So it's a lot of flexibility built into the program so that we can, like I said, go out of our way to help our people.
It's certainly interesting.
Yes, it is. It is.
And would you say that this particular position that has got people thinking about the program, is this the highest position that you've placed someone who has gone through or is in the Second Chances program?
Yeah, by far. We've had other persons do manual labor. We've had people working in I think maybe someone was in a receptionist. Some persons were maybe in sort of a clerical role. We've had different things, but we look at the person's skill set and what they bring to the table. So this was a bit unusual, but I believe, and this is what my ethos is, Franz, just do the right thing for the right reasons. You have taken a commitment to help your people, so do it for the right reasons.
All right. Well, I wish all of the participants. How many do you currently have that are in the Second Chances program?
Yeah. So at the moment, I believe there's about 6 that are in the program right now. Like I said, we've had people that have come in and out of the program. Some persons have actually become a longer-term employment with us, but I think it's 6 persons at the moment that we have in the program.
Okay. So you say then, just to be clear to existing civil service who might say, right, we get that Caymanians need second chances and you have to balance compassion and rehabilitation with fairness to career civil servant.
Absolutely.
Do you believe that any career civil servants have been disenfranchised because of your Second Chances program?
No, none. None. And like I said, so if you use the topic that we're having now, if it's going to be decided that is something that we would want to keep, then other civil servants, including those in the fire service, will have an opportunity to compete for that job down the road. I have let's just say that the feedback until now from the civil service has been tremendous. People said, Mr. Manderson, thank you so much. We are proud that we can have second chances persons working in our departments. So it has been a very proud moment for us in the civil service. And I hope the public will be proud to see that their government is not saying, you do this, you give people a second chance, you do this, we're doing it. And I hope that we will inspire departments in the private sector to do more of it. Some of them are doing it now, but we would like the private sector to do more as well, so that our little miracle that we have here continues, and persons who cannot find a job, who may have a conviction. I have a limited budget. I have a limited size. I can't take on 50 people. But let's work together with the private sector, and hopefully we can put more people into the into employment. I just want to mention, I don't know if you remember the late Mr. Gene Thompson, when he was building Shetty Hospital. And he said, Franz, I am going to solve the crime situation in Cayman. I'm going to take on any Caymanian that walks onto my site, whether they have a conviction or not. And he did it. And we have a wonderful Shetty Hospital right now. If all employers did that, can you imagine where we would be today? Our crime would continue to go down. People get desperate, they feel hopeless, and they commit crime. So I am doing everything I can to make sure that as many people that I can help, I'm trying to help.
I certainly understand that. One final point is, I've had a number of persons feel slighted because they currently are civil servants, and for whatever reason, they're not happy in their existing position. Most instances, it has to do with personalities within the department, whether it's like police service, court office, 2 examples right now of persons that I know that would like to work somewhere else in the civil service. They want to get out, but they have felt like they don't have a choice. Like, they have to stay in that position. Some of them have said, I've reached out to Mr. Manderson directly about this. And, I've tried applying for positions across the civil service, and they can't get any forward motion. They can't get out, basically. So it's almost like their only option would be to resign, which they need their jobs and they want to remain as a civil servant, but they're just not happy where they are, the particular department or division that they're currently in. How do people move across the civil service?
So thank you. Great question. And so there's a number of ways. One, I have the power in the law to transfer staff across ministries. And I do that. Normally it happens after an election where subjects are moved and other and subject matters are moved, and I move the staff with their subjects. But from time to time, I get a request, similar to what you just said, Mr. Manderson. We have a staff member here who we feel, may be a better fit somewhere else. And then we would look to see how we can accommodate it. So a transfer is one. Number two, there is a secondment policy that I'm very proud of, where we allow Caymanians to go and work for short periods in other departments. We found it very useful for professional development. So I've had cases where civil servants who were, for example, in finance, decided that I would like to be in HR, goes off and gets an HR qualification, but doesn't have any experience. We can second them to an HR department and let them get some experience. There's one case that I'm very pleased about where it was exactly that. The person had a finance qualification, went and got a HR qualification. We seconded them to maybe 2 or 3 ministries, HR departments, gave them opportunities to gain experience, and that person is now an HR manager. So we are doing everything we can to try to accommodate our staff. And of course, number 3 is that you can see a job applying in another department and you can apply for it and get it that way. I don't want to know of any civil servant who is not happy in their role, that has to feel forced that they want to stay there. That's not, what we preach, or no, that's not what we're all about. So if you reached out to me and it didn't work, reach back out. I will, redouble my efforts to ensure that that you as a civil servant is is happy in the job that you're in. And when I say it's not just myself, it is my team have worked with me a lot to move people around, to accommodate persons, and we do it quite often.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll encourage them to continue to reach out, I suppose, and hopefully they can,
and let's find a solution together.
Yeah, hopefully they can, because no one wants a job where they show up every day not happy.
No,
that's
not at
sure.
all. Not at all.
Well, Mr. Manderson, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Deputy Governor, still yet for a little bit longer.
Yes. So could I want to just give a shout out to Ms. Magdalene and my friend, oh God, please don't tell me I forgot her name. The lady from that involves in the schools. She commented on this post.
Miss Marva.
Miss Marva, oh my God, Miss Marva, I'm so sorry. I want to thank both of them.
Yes, Marva.
On post.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, I was getting blamed for something that I had no responsibility for, and Miss Magdalene just said, "What did the DG have to say about this?" She didn't tear me down. She didn't make all kind of accusations. She just said, "What did the DG have to say about this?" And I responded to her.
Mm-hmm.
And Ms. Marva has done the same thing today. I have some questions about this. What does the DG have to say?
Mm-hmm.
Caymanians, listen, please follow those ladies' lessons. When you read a post, if the first thing that comes to your mind is to tear it down, then you really need to think about what you're all about. Every one of us say we want to see Caymanians prosper. But then when you read that a Caymanian has gotten a job, we think that that's a bad thing, and all sorts of horrible comments are made. I don't think that is good for us in Cayman. I just want to again thank Ms. Marva. Ms. Marva, I forgot your name. I'm so sorry.
Marva,
please. And Ms. Magdalene. Just thank the two of them for the constructive way. Constructive criticism works, and asking questions works. And Sandra, you do the same thing. The reason I'm on here now is you called me and you said, Mr. Manderson, I think you need to come on and show about this. Well, thank you for giving me an opportunity to come here and talk to the public. And, if I don't come, then you have the right to say, I asked him to come on and he wouldn't come. And here's what I think. But so thank you, Sandra. You've always done that. And I am very grateful for the opportunity to come here and explain to the public I am spending other people's money. Okay. So the public has a right to answers to see when their money is being spent. And I am happy to always try to come on and answer as many questions as I can. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it because I did feel like the Second Chances program, there was a crucial conversation that we needed to have around it. And I think you've answered a lot of the questions that people had today for sure. And this is also part of the reality of rehabilitation and reintegration into the workforce, into the community. And I think you make a very, very salient point when you say, if there is no hope of rehabilitation or reintegration, then what hope do those individuals have? Recidivism becomes the norm for them. So, on the one hand, we want people to serve their time and to be punished for their wrongdoings, but you can't punish someone for their entire life for something that they've done. So Second Chances program, again, hopefully explained adequately here today. And we appreciate the openness and addressing the questions that were sent through and explaining the policies and principles behind the efforts to support Caymanians, particularly within the civil service. And I think, again, it will give private sector an example that they can use to model after.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We are at our very best when we're all working together. Private sector, public, civil service, public sector, private sector. When we all come together, we're unbeatable, right? And what makes Cayman successful is that we have a great private sector who is supported by a great civil service. And when we work together, amazing things happen. So let's continue the collaboration. And again, my challenge is to members of the private sector, develop a similar program. Just take one person. You know, just take one person, give them an opportunity, and see what happens. You will be maybe pleasantly surprised.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, Deputy Governor Franz
Thank you very much.
Manderson. Very engaged in dialogue. And
Yes.
again, folks, we're always here about trying to bring balance to understanding how, various things happen within our community. We appreciate Mr. Manderson for his leadership and for bringing clarity to this subject, which a lot of people had questions around. So I think most of that has been addressed. And Mr. Manderson, as always, we appreciate you coming on. And
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Have a wonderful rest of the day. Good to have you back.
Thanks too.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that was an interview, like I said, that was conducted on Friday. Some of you are asking, why did he do the interview? Well, we had to find a convenient time, and this week was quite busy for my schedule as well as his. So I actually made the recommendation that we do a pre-recorded interview. So at least we got, the interview done. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes people are not available to come in on the live. But I think the most important thing really is that we got the interview done. So lots of questions I hope were answered. And of course, I know a lot of you are still not satisfied with those questions based on your responses and your feedback here this morning. I see a lot of you have things to say. So I'm going to go until 10 o'clock. I do have an 11 o'clock meeting that I have to prepare for, so I can't go into too much overtime this morning. But let me just say that I hear your concerns, and we can certainly discuss some of those that have come in. Someone said something interesting, which I find that this has always been the case. Smiley Too Cute says, as a decent citizen of this country, I'm left feeling in order to get hired now is to serve time in prison, thanks to the money-hungry managers, Michael Miles, Franz Manderson, and a few others. I'm not sure the last part when you say money-hungry managers, what that has to do with it. But I do feel like people have always felt like criminals. I mean, this is kind of sad, but this may not be accurate, but this is how people feel, that criminals get more rights in the sense that they get more job opportunities. I don't think that that's actually the case. I think it is very, very difficult once you have a record in this country for you to get a second chance. So I want to be fair and balanced in this. And I certainly have no issues with people getting a second chance. I think, though, there are questions around how the program actually works. That is really what people have questions about. And in particular, this one where, the charges against Mr. Bruce Blake, Stevens Blake now, are in relation to, dishonesty, money laundering, and that sort of thing. You would think with that type of offense, I know Mr. Manderson said, if you have an offense for theft, they wouldn't put you in certain positions. But I kind of feel like with that kind of offense, it's difficult to see how he could get into management position at all in the civil service. I mean, it goes to the core of like honesty. It goes to the core of just so many things that it's hard. It is very, very difficult, right? Now, if you believe Bruce's defense, I mean, his defense is that he just believed this guy willy-nilly. That also makes you question the type of judgment he has as an individual. When you're at the level that he was a CPA, right? He started off in accounting. I remember I used to work with Bruce, nice guy. I actually first met, he reminded me that I first met him at USF, which, by the way, I hadn't even remembered myself when I was a student there during a sit-in student protest. By the way, child, we've been protesting our entire lives, and he was like the Caribbean Association, which I think he was part of, supported my protests and supported, the discrimination that I was saying that was happening at the time back in the USF student body government. So, having said that, I do still feel that as someone who was a CPA who went on to be a lawyer, who had experience working in Maples, that either he is someone who has really, really piss poor judgment, which is not a good thing. That's not, you don't put people in management who have that experience, or he was more complicit than, he wants us to believe. It has to be one or the other. And you put someone with such poor discretion, poor judgment, and a management advisory capacity, I don't know, and I mean, I never heard any complaints about his work at Maples, to be fair to him, or anything in a professional capacity outside of the Cayman Islands Football Association. But even this situation that got him in trouble, I think does kind of speak volumes to his ability to decipher and pull apart things that in the management support advisory position, you need to have a discerning spirit. It says that this person undertakes civil service reform initiatives across a wide range of subjects, provides policy advice, and undertake one-off projects for the head of the civil service. So I guess he'll be managed carefully then. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a way about this particular, and I'm not saying that he doesn't need a chance. And there are questions about, people need second chances, but do you put them in a management role? That's the other question. Anyway, we've got a call in the line. Caller, question or comment this morning?
Good morning. I have a question and comment. I was listening to this and morning, by the way. I was listening to this and when it first came out, I was I'm kind of like you. Not sure if this is the right thing, but I want to firstly say thank you to the DG and thank you to the Civil Service for the Second Chances program. I think it's imperative. I think it's critical, and it's absolutely necessary. I think this, with the Civil Service being the largest employer of Caymanians, I think that they are best equipped, tooled, staffed to take on persons who have committed crimes and best able to get them back in a position to work. I think that they set the tone for the private sectors as well. I cannot think off the top of my head, and I'm not going to suggest that it doesn't happen. I cannot think of any instance or any private sector who has taken on a former convicted person. With regards to this particular second chance applicant or person, Bruce, I've had the pleasure of working with Bruce very closely. We worked together at Naples and Calder. I have nothing to say, wrong, bad, or about Bruce. He was a great person. He was a great friend during that time. He performed his job, in my opinion, from working with him on a daily basis to a very high standard. He took his role. He took his role in FIFA, I think, very seriously. I feel very differently about the outcome of that trial, having sat through it, having read the notes. You alluded to either he has piss poor judgment or I forgot what the other part was. I choose to believe that despite being convicted, that it was truly a case of poor judgment and very trusting. If I am wrong, then God will judge me for that, I guess. And that's how I feel about that. However, I do feel the same way that you feel, because I think while the Second Chances program is not enshrined in law, so to speak, I think it does set a bad precedent. We think of Mr. Stephen Blake's, this is Bruce's co-accused, Mr. Canover Watson. Canover he'd been in a slew of stuff. We had the care pay scandal. Then we had the FIFA /FIFA.
Because let me pause you there for a second. Miss Brenda says in her comment section, what about Canova? He deserves a second chance too.
Absolutely. That's where I was going. And what I'm saying is,
let me be clear now. There is a difference. Canova would not be at a second chance because he has had multiple convictions for multiple things. So his isn't just FIFA. His is defrauding the government itself to the tune of millions of dollars through his care pay system, sitting in a trusted position on a board. So I don't see a path.
Hold on. well, hold on. We don't see a path. And prior to what occurred here, I didn't see a path for Bruce either. And
well, to be fair to Bruce, this is his only conviction of the two. So there are differences of the two, as you say, you sat through the trial of the two. His, he even got credit for a good character from the court and all this other stuff because he doesn't have a previous conviction, and his role
he had an exemplary, unblemished reputation.
Yeah,
very
and
intelligent,
his role and what was accused, or what was, what they said happened.
Very minimal, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it was still elevated up to criminal, but Watson was actually found guilty of 6 counts, where Bruce was found guilty of 2 counts of false accounting. So, I mean, Watson had, money laundering, false accounting, secret commissions. And then if we remember the other case, this dude was sitting down at work, speaking about Watson now, he was sitting down at work with his Excel document, figuring out how he's going to frivolously spend the money that he was stealing from the Cayman Islands government, him and his co-accused. He hasn't yet been convicted because he hasn't come back to the jurisdiction, but what's his name? Jeff Webb, right? They actually found an Excel document on his computer where he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna upgrade my speakers at the house in Atlanta and this and that." So his culpability and his degree of guilt says that there will be no second chances for him.
Touch Jeff Webb today, right? But what I'm saying is, right, however, if we recall correctly, and here, let me be very clear, I am not here defending anything Kenova Watson did. I think what he did told the HSA in that KRP scandal, we are still feeling the effects today.
Of course.
What he did to the Cayman Islands Football Association and the FIFA at large, we are still feeling those effects today. Programs for children have been tremendously affected.
Those poor kids in Haiti. Forget about Cayman for a second. Those poor kids in Haiti. Look at what they're going through now.
I have no sympathy for Kenova Watson and probably less for Jeff Webb. But speaking specifically to this, if I am to take what Mr. Manderson said, like he said, if your offending was during a period of time, like you caught a case of the bad. If I am to take that and hear me now, I'm just I guess hypothetically speaking, if I am to take that, Kenova's offending was during one period. Yes, it was multiple offenses, but it was still during one period. It was one period of absolute, it was one period of absolute greed.
Because the care pay and the CIFA thing, you can't link those together as one period.
You can't link them, but they overlapped. They were going on at the same time.
Well,
he was a master at what he was doing.
I think when he said one period, that probably wasn't in law what he was really referring to.
Okay.
I think when he said, like, and when you look at a legal case and a judge considers a period of offending, it would be things that are like connected. In other words,
like offenses. But these are like offenses. These are like offenses.
Theft and dishonesty and false accounting and
correct. But what I'm saying is,
I don't think they come from the same.
It could be argued. It could be argued, and my concern, I think it could be. Now, I
think you might be splitting hairs there, but
you could, but there could be an argument. And what I'm saying is, my concern is, are we creating precedent for convicted persons? I can think of another person who I believe at the time of his conviction was Caymanian. He was convicted, went to prison, had similar qualifications to Bruce Blake. He is not Caymanian, he's not originally Caymanian. To the best of my memory, he does have Caymanian status, so is Caymanian for all intents and purposes. My question is, how do you decide does Sandra get the job after prison? Does Siobhan get the job after prison? Granted, I've considered all of Bruce's qualifications, and let me be clear, I'm glad that Bruce got a job. I'm glad that Bruce got this job. But like you, it just feels like we're rewarding criminality. And I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't get a second chance, but to be in a decision-making capacity at that level, forget about the salary, at that level, how well have we thought it through? And could an argument be made, like Ms. Brenda said, because that's where I was going, where Canova Watson could now say, but what about me? Who had similar qualifications? Now, mind you, let me be absolutely clear. Is in no way, shape, or form, in my personal opinion, he cannot hold a candle to Bruce. However, can an argument be made that, well, what about him? And that's the only thing that I guess concerns me. We're seeing more and more sophisticated financial crimes in this country. For every rat that you see, there's 100 that you don't. How many are being missed? And again, I just want to know, Mr. Manderson said he can expand the program to 50 persons. We just saw a criminal trial there with a young man with a DVDL. He was sentenced to prison, I think, just almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
What about him? Similar charges as Bruce, albeit doesn't have the same qualifications. What about those persons who have had previously exemplary character, who, to use Mr. Manderson, who's just exercised poor judgment? What about them? Do you wait 2 years? Do you wait 3 years? How do we actually, because I'm all for the program, but how do we make it work? How do we make it work effectively? How can the public help?
Mm-hmm.
What can the civil service do more because I personally believe that they are best tooled, staffed, and equipped to take on these persons. May not be in a management position, but I think that they are best equipped for that. So I'll just put that out there as food for thought. But my concern is when other persons who come for their second chance, maybe not Fred McLaughlin, because I'm not advocating for him today.
Lord Jesus.
Yeah,
that's a hot mess.
But it is a legitimate question, though. What about?
I mean, that's why I had to ask it. Like, is there a limit to the second chances? Because, like I said, for Fred, it wouldn't be a second chance. It's going to be like chance number 15 or something ridiculous. Because he has demonstrated a continual.
But he has a propensity for those types of offenses. Again, nonetheless, is Fred any less or more than Bruce?
Of course he is.
Does he deserve?
I mean,
I'm just asking the question.
He's already been to jail multiple times, and he doesn't seem like the one thing that Mr. Manderson said during that interview, which I think should not be lost on us, is the fact that he consults with other people in terms of looking at the likelihood of someone being a repeat offender. And even the court acknowledged in the case of Bruce Blake
that it was likely that he would not reoffend.
Yes, he was on the low end of reoffending. Nobody in their right mind would say that about Fred McLaughlin. Let's be clear now. You're not really comparing.
Let me be clear. I'm not advocating for Fred, nor am I advocating for Canova.
You're not really comparing apples to apples there.
Agreed. But we have to I think it still has to be balanced, and we have to balance it against what I perceive to be the most extreme of circumstances to something that you would say, well, you're not comparing like and like, right? Because like I said, I don't care how small the argument is. Once an argument can be made, we potentially have another issue.
All right.
We don't need it.
Leave me there. We got some other callers. Yeah. Thank you so much. We've got some other callers trying to get in. And I did say, caller, you got to do something about all that background noise. I did say we would go until 10 o'clock, so I'll give you guys a few more minutes. Caller, what's your take on all this?
Really? You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Morning.
Sure. Morning.
Lauren from the Bluff. Well, first of all, a family member of mine got a government job through the Second Chances program, and it was a fight, but I did my best to get them in that program. They're now successful years, and they're 6-7 years now working in the government, no problems. My point with all of this situation is originally when I heard about it back in 2013, I think it was 13 or 14, I was told that it was basically to do with people who were very much involved in the recidivism. meaning they were constantly going back and back, and there was nothing. They come out and they commit a crime and they go back again, blah, blah, blah. Because there was no jobs, no one wanted to hire them. And that was the core, is what I was understanding of me back then when it came out. And it was very brief when they came out with it. They didn't make a big blast of it. It was sort of like, you know, when you just sweep some dirt off the porch and leave it there situation. And it was basically to deal with the lower hanging jobs, laborers, gardeners, garbage men, people like that. It had no positions would have been coming up for any higher positions than that for people coming out of the prison, is what I was told by a government staff when I contacted the department about it. Back, it was 13 or 14. And they said, well, yeah, you know, we're trying to help those that are actually, the politicians that said no, was really trying to help those that are constantly repeated and going back to the prison, because back then the prison was overcrowded and they didn't want the courts to constantly keep sending them there. So the courts then got involved with this program to try and help get them into something as well. It was also, I think it was Soy. Was it the Soy Foundation? I'm trying to think, or something to do with that was involved in it as well. From my memory, I'll have to go look up the articles again, read them, see what it said. But my point of all of it, it's not a bad program, and I don't want our people to think it is. I'll give them credit, but my point of all of it is, you can't just select somebody like Bruce Blake, who did so much. I mean, what he did was wrong. I was accused of stealing my paycheck for the 5 years I worked for a company. Okay, because I blew the whistle on his money laundering with 2 banks and 1 law firm. Now, he's going to get this big job when he walk out of Northwood Prison, and that was not part of the original program. So I never heard the deputy governor raise any of that when he did your interview with him earlier. I didn't hear him raise that, oh, you know, we adjusted it and we started to go into higher positions. It was never for those positions, Sandra. You take it from me, because the minute I heard about it, I made sure that I got my family member in that program right away. I think they were probably one of the first ones, you know, and it was back then when it first came out. I think at a point there was like 17 in the program. And I really think that the government should put some money into boosting that program to help our people, because a lot of the people who have businesses out here that are Caymanians with status, they don't want to hire us, and they came from their own countries with fake police record. So my point of all this is, Bruce Blake, let me say how I feel about this, and I'm going to say it now. And I don't care who hate me, because, you know, I don't give coots about anything. He was the fall guy for that whole situation. And he was guaranteed a damn good job when he exited His Majesty's prison. Yes, he was. He took the falls, what was it, 18 months he was there? Was that how long he was, or 2 years? How long did he, was it 18 months?
He got 8.
I think he got 18. Out on good behavior.
Well,
for 18 months.
Remember, most people only serve 60% of their.
Yeah.
So he got 18 months. So do 60% of that.
Okay. Whatever. Yep. So whatever the time is, he served it. He paid his price to the community. He paid his debt to society. But one thing I gotta tell him, it's not gonna be lived down. You could have the most polished police record after this. Years go by, your community is going to hold it against you. I mean, they hold mine against me all day long, but they never knew the truth behind it. And the other thing about it, I found was very curious. Why didn't he appeal his sentence and his conviction? Why wasn't that appealed? I never saw anywhere where his lawyers went for an appeal. So that's why I'm thinking this whole thing with him was set up.
No. I think that they did, and it was actually turned down by the Court of Appeal.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kudos
yeah.
to
Both him and Watson tried to appeal it, and they were not even given an audience with the court.
Well, I know I read about Watson.
I can verify, but I'm pretty sure that that's happened.
Well, I remember Watson, so I understand. I remember everything he did with his, and all the lies he told. But anyway, my point of all this is, Blake was the fall guy, Sandra, and he took the fall, and he got promised what he got, and he's now out, and the promise that was made for him is now there through the Second Chances program. And I am telling you right now, that Second Chances program was not for that caliber of jobs. It was for low-hanging jobs, garbage men, you name it, street cleaners, whatever, you name it. It was not for that caliber of job. So somebody, and I would go as far as venturing to say that our deputy governor did that favor for him because, he's going out with a blaze of glory. So I just want to express that feeling, and that's my opinion. A lot of people feel the same way who have communicated to me as well.
Listen, anybody that they could get, and I do think that we know that there are other people whose names came up in the investigation, including one who is a former minister and government official who now works very, very closely on a lot of boards and consulting positions with government, who a lot of people know his name was all over the situation with both CarePay and CFA. Listen, if they couldn't get anything to stick, they couldn't get anything to stick. Maybe some criminals are just smarter than others, and now they carry out their criminality. And we can probably leave it at that. I don't know that you had anybody who was a fall guy or not, because I can tell you, even Bruce Blake, who is now, suing Canova Watson for $100,000, I think when it comes down to it, it becomes every man for himself. And you're not going to go down on a ship for nobody else if you had nothing to do with it. And I think it was the other side of the fence.
You're only looking on one side of the fence with this. I'm looking from the other side of the fence.
Well, I'm saying that talking to other people who were involved in CFA at the time, who were also interviewed by the police, who say, listen, the community keep calling up their name, but they said, trust me, number one, I was never that stupid to allow these people to have me sign documents and whatever, like how they were with some others. Like basically they too were approached by Canova to do this, do that, and by Jeff Webb, and they said absolutely not. They refused to do it. They were interviewed multiple times by the police, and I guess the police didn't find any wrongdoing. So I think some people were smarter than others, and that's why I say when it comes to judgment, maybe Bruce Blake, if we're giving him the benefit of the doubt, just had really piss poor judgment. And he was signing off on shit and being involved in money laundering. Now, remember, you can be involved in money laundering and not know that it's money laundering, There is a degree of, because the legal definition in law is that basically the legal test is you should have known. There's like a common sense element involved in it. So this is why I say all the time, people need to be extremely careful when they are involved in organizations and they're signing a document and they're doing this, that, and the next thing, because you may not have the direct intent, but you might still knowingly do it because of your negligence.
Exactly.
So let's leave it there. So I don't think he was the fall guy. I think he was either extremely naive and stupid or, whatever. But we have other callers.
Let me say this.
So let's take
let me quickly say this before you shut me off. Don't be OC.
But listen, you've talking for 10 minutes now,
Whatever. I don't come on often. Anyways,
but you don't call every single day.
You've been doing for 2 weeks, so hush. Let me see what I can say. Listen,
Lord have mercy. Says the person who calls daily.
When I worked in Gallagher and Company, and I was doing money laundering in there, and I had no idea what that was. No clue. When it looked, we women have that intuition about us that we think something's not right when things don't look right. And I went across the hallway to Mr. Stewartson that used to do the trophies, and I started talking to him, Kahina. But that was back when I smoked cigarettes, and me and him used to be smoking buddies out in the Grand Pavilion building there in the courtyard. And I talked to him and I tell him stuff and I explained to him, this stuff don't look right. And he said, that is laundering. your money, he's money laundering. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm neck deep in it because I'm doing this stuff. And that's when I started to write letters to the country, to the government. I wrote to the deputy governor, gave him a list of the companies that were doing this laundering and the banks that was involved and the law firm involved. And then they come and arrest me and say I steal my paycheck for 5 years. But there was no whistleblower legislation. And even though I made that very known to my attorney at the time, and on my appeal to my entire conviction and everything, they wouldn't even let me go to my appeal, Sandra. I had a legal aid lawyer who went and did the appeal and didn't even bring up the word whistleblower in my appeal, which was the whole concept of it. And this is why I say our system is very corrupt and it needs a good cleaning out, because Ms. Levers made me know that we are corrupt and showed me so much corruption in our system. And I can tell you, I will carry that to my grave, because we corrupt, and until we clean the mess up, we're going to still be corrupt.
All
Anyway,
right, leave me
it was a good interview, and I hope a lot of people.
Uh-oh. Lord, I didn't mean to disconnect her. I don't know what happened there, but it did disconnect. All right, one more phone call, 936-2626. Miss Brenda says, I'm trying not to take her call. I can assure you, Miss Brenda, that is not the case. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Don't be blaming me. People got lots to say this morning, and I'm trying to get to a few calls, and I have an appointment 11, so I did say I was going to end at 10 o'clock, but here we are. What does Eve say? Why does Sandra block anyone who goes against what she promotes? What on earth is Eve talking about?
Not answering my call.
No. You're here now. No. What happens is, no. Hold on, Miss Brenda. If someone is calling, no. 1 second. If someone is calling on WhatsApp, which some of those calls were, I cannot answer a non-WhatsApp call and put them on hold. So you guys don't know how people are calling in. So there are people who are calling on WhatsApp. And so once they do that, their call gets priority because these phone systems don't allow you to put.
When there's no one calling and someone is calling and that call is not being answered, but someone else.
When you were calling, we had callers on the line.
On indefinitely, and you continue calling.
No.
You cut short who you want to cut short.
No, ma'am. When you were calling, we had callers. I saw even Jonathan calling, and I couldn't take his call. So nobody's avoiding calls. And in fact, I don't even have your number saved, so you can't say that I technically even know, because your number looks a lot like Miss Marva's number.
You already know my number.
No, you'd be surprised. You and Miss Marva have very similar numbers. So I don't actually know whether it's you or her that's calling. I know it's.
I can feel like one of the criminals, and I can have a couple of hot phones, and I can decide which number I can call you, something I won't call you. Anyway, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And the reason that I was calling was, since you mentioned my name, I said, well, you know what? Let me just say why I asked the question, because I don't like things just left hanging out there. I am going to say this to you, Sandra, and to whomever is listening. Nobody has to agree with me, but it has always been my contention that Canova was a scapegoat from day one. Until today, they cannot recover these millions of dollars that this man supposedly stole. And in his capacity as chairman of the board or whatever, he had to give an account to someone. I'm not going down this rabbit hole trying to retry or rehash his case, but I am going to put my feelings, my opinion, then up until now out there. I personally feel sorry for Canova. I know where Canova is coming from, and he was selected to be used. And if anybody deserves a second chance, it is Canova. I am very sorry to say, when you are a lawyer, you cannot be excused for committing crimes. That is a slap in the face to any other lawyer. supposed to be beyond reproach. And I have nothing against a second chance program. However, I do not think it's a good look for our government to be doing it or employing the people, because now you are a representative of the Cayman Islands government. And I do not think that where they started was good precedence also. But since they have now started, let us hope that now they can't turn anybody back. And that the people who really deserve it, whether they're still in Northwood or out in Northwood, because part of a second chance is also early release, in case people don't know that. So let us hope that they be fair to everyone who has actually earned the right to a second chance. And now the government can't turn anybody back because they've started it. I can see people in the private sector getting a second chance and a position of management, but I wouldn't have expected to see that in the government. I do not know Bruce Blake. This is not personal for me, but I'm a woman of principle. I believe in fairness. And I can simply and certainly say, and nobody can challenge me on this, there's not a lot of fairness that goes on in this country, whether in the government or in the private sector. There's just too much nepotism going on. And I can just imagine how some of the people sit down today feeling, because they, until today, have never been forgiven by society, by the government, or by the private sector. For what? They didn't even serve a day in prison. So let us hope that all of the Caymanians, and I speak for Caymanians, who have been convicted, whether rightfully or wrongfully, let us hope that if they have earned the right to a second chance, that they will get it.
Okay, thank you very much.
And in that, I hope and I pray that Canova is included. That man was destroyed, and I think they went overboard with what they did to him. Nobody else was done what was done to him. And Bruce Blake, I'm sorry to say, he was no fall guy for anyone. And if anything, if Canova was invigilating him to do something wrong, he should have reported Canova or anybody else for that matter. Let us not forget, this man is a lawyer, or they said he is a lawyer. So if he didn't know better, then that puts his legal knowledge, for me, into question.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
All right.
I appreciate it.
And stop rolling up your eyes at me. I can see you.
I wasn't rolling my eyes at you, but thank you, Miss Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, we can sit here and argue on either side of this until the cows come home. I do think what this says is that this is a very, very sad indictment on us as a people. I remember when Canova was first arrested in relation to this, there were people who knew his mother extremely well, and they said, oh my God, this poor woman, maybe it's a good thing she has dementia, because this would kill her if she knew what he was being accused of. Because she had worked so hard to put him through school. And he himself had worked hard. And this is where I think this is a cautionary tale for every single person out there who you get put in a position where you have the potential of money at your disposal, maybe the likes of money that you've never seen. I mean, I don't really know. You have got to be prepared to keep your nose clean. It is easy. It is easy when you're surrounded by the wrong people to get involved in criminality. That's why they say birds of a feather flock together. Aunt Lottie would have so much to say about this, trust me. It is very, very easy. And that's why you have to be careful of the company you keep in your personal life, in your professional life, and even the things that you are willing to see happening around you, and you become complacent about, or you become a part of. I can't speak to how Canova ended up where he is. One day, maybe he'll give us an interview. I'd love to be able to sit down with him. You know, he has not accepted his culpability in any of this. He's denied it. What I can tell you is the evidence that came out during even his first trial pointed to the fact that Canova, for whatever reason, was trying to keep up with the big boys network, the good old boys, right? Trying to keep up with in Cayman, they wouldn't be the Joneses, but you know, whoever the hell they are. The Jeff Webbs of the world and whatever, living large, one in private, jet access, and all kind of stuff. And to be fair, he wasn't the only one, but he crossed the line, right? There was a lot of people rolling with Jeff Webb, getting freebies. He had a girlfriend back in the day. She was getting free trips. Everybody was getting freeness. But there are people who crossed the line from just taking advantage of what was in place and getting freeness off of a system that was ripe for abuse and being abused to taking it to an excess. And the greed demonstrated exactly that they were doing that. Like I said, for someone to sit down and steal money from the Cayman Islands government and the care pay system, and then to take the time on their work time when they could be earning real money, right? Figuring out how and where they were going to spend that extra money. And it was so ridiculous. It was so frivolous. It wasn't a situation of need. This was absolute greed. Him and Jeff Webb didn't need this money. It was a situation where they couldn't pay their bills. Canova Watson's making 25 grand a month being the managing director of his company, plus bonuses, right? He was making a lot of money. This wasn't about that. This was about excessive greed. And the tale is we all have to be willing to live within our budgets. If you make $100,000 a month, then great for you. Okay? Live within your $100,000 a month budget. You can't live on $200,000 a month if you're not making it. You know, buying a house in Atlanta for what? Oh, we're going to build a pool. We're going to do this. We have to be next door neighbors. It was just reckless and it was stupid. And I don't know why he thought for a minute that he would have gotten away with it, you know, but him and Jeff were BFFs and trying to roll together, having all these lavish parties. Like I would hear this shit and I'd go, why? This is excessive. You know, I mean, we've got other people here who are accountants throwing $200,000 parties for their daughters to get married and things in Vegas, whatever. The marriage lasted a hot minute because she's marrying a gay guy, but nobody cared about that. Sending custom invitations in a velvet box and all kind of foolishness. Caymanians, stop. I have to use a little bit of profanity here because I think it encapsulates what I'm trying to say. Stop the fuckridge. I mean, this is what it comes down to, right? It is just stupid. Nobody needs to live that type of excessive life. For what? To make other people believe you have money? Those people, when your ass is going to jail, when you can't pay celebrations that bill, years on, you never did pay the fucking bill. I mean, let's just be honest, Mr. Accountant. You spent all this money on a wedding, invitations, custom invitations. Oh, McKeever Bush got his in a box and this. It is stupid. It is posturing for all the wrong reasons. It don't make no sense. And then you can't even pay the bill to poor celebrations. Your now ex-wife had to end up paying years on a payment plan to pay off your daughter's wedding that lasted 6 months if you were lucky. Caymanians, something wrong with us, you know. We need to stop it. Canova got caught up in something that was bigger than him, but he was central to it. His culpability is real. He did what they said he did. Now, Jeff Webb has managed to get off scot-free so far, but you know what they say? Time longer than rope. At some point, Jeff Webb got step foot on Cayman soil. At some point, you're going to come home, Bobo, before you're in a box. And the day that you do that, in fact, as soon as you're out of whatever shenanigans you're going on with the U.S. government, which he'll never serve a day there because he started singing like a canary. He sold everybody down the river in order to ensure that he would never spend a day in jail. You feel me? So nothing will happen to him of substance in the United States of America. By the time they get it wrong, I've never heard anybody case get put off this much in my life. Trump done pardon him, child. No, he's not going to no jail. So by the time all of that is said and done, he already got American citizenship. Is Trump going to deport him? Only God knows. But you got to come back home at some point. Or maybe our government will finally be able to extradite you once you're off of house arrest. So there's also a cautionary tale here that not everybody, what they say, foul and whatever, don't have the same luck. Not everybody has the same luck. So Jeff Webb, because he was married to an American citizen, was able to remain in the United States of America and to remain out of arm's length from our legal system, because the legal system there treating him with kitty gloves, you see. So we haven't gotten our hands on Jeff yet, but Jeff should be in jail sitting down right next to Canova. And the day that he comes home, I expect them to deal with him accordingly. Yeah. So Canova, you just never had no good luck. Number one, you wasn't a born Caymanian, so you know that can work against you. Number two, you're black, so you know how that work already. Not really cute. All the money in the world don't protect you, right? We're talking the real world now. All the money in the world not gonna protect you. Okay, you couldn't marry up. You couldn't find an American citizen to marry and be outside the jurisdiction. You weren't, although you thought you were in the level with Jeff Webb, it turns out that you actually weren't. You were trailing him and trying to chase him, trying to chase the money. All these years this man has wasted in jail. Let me say this though. Despite what y'all saying about second chances, Canova Watson will have no issues finding a job. In fact, I wasn't going to take any more calls, but let me take this one call. Caller?
Good morning, Sandra, and thank you for the show.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
This is just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But a second chance program, there are many more deserving civil servants that need second chances in good programs. And I can tell you what, if investigation was done critically and perfectly, there would be a lot more heads rolling than Canova, Bruce Blake, and Jeff, because they are the ones that are taking the fall. But I personally know there's many more heads that should be falling, but they're the black boys, and they got the fall of it. And I can tell you, a $9,000 salary, that doesn't come with a second chance program. That's what you call a cover-up. Take care, Sandra, and have a great day.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, for Canova, it wouldn't be a second chance because he's now served multiple instances in jail. But what I would say is Canova's not going to have a problem because he still, as far as I know, owned businesses and has business interests. So he was one of the partners in the sign company, for example. Even when he got out, he was the general manager at what's the place there in Walker's Road called? The car dealership place, one of those places there. So I don't think Canova Watson's gonna have a problem finding a job. I don't know how long Bruce might have been looking for a job. I mean, he literally just came out. So I don't know how long he was looking for a job, but Canova Watson not gonna have that problem. I was surprised when I heard he was manager of this car place. I'm like, damn. You go to jail for what you go to jail for, and it's like, you're still good. You will still find a high-paying job handling people money, no less. So, yeah, our community seems to be very forgiving. If it's the right people, I guess, on the right side of the tracks and whatever, they can find jobs. It can be me and you that would have to worry about finding a job, so you better keep your nose clean. That's all I can tell you. I'm sitting here to make sure that I stay on the right side of the law, because Lord knows they'd be throwing me under the jail. So yeah. I don't know what else to tell you, but someone says, I think you forgot Canova was married to Kia, an American girl that he used to beat the shit out of. Oh, I don't even know I never knew he was married. He was married? I didn't know that. He's one of those beaters too? Lord Jesus. I think I'm listening to the show on delay, but thought I'd share. Oh, snaps. Yeah, I didn't know he was married to anybody. Who the hell's Kia? Somebody married him? Lord Jesus. Okay. All right. And he has you gotta be joking. He cannot be no woman beater. You see, in my mind, you can't be ugly and a woman beater and black at the same time. I'm sorry. This is such an ignorant comment, but I'm gonna make it anyway. Like, what the fuck? No, Bobo. You wouldn't get a lick on me. I got to turn around and look at your ugly face every night, roll over, and then you gonna want to put your hands on me on top of that. I know one thing. I would have boxed you down a long time. That not gonna happen. No, sir. Wow, abusive on top of it? Oh, Jesus Christ. Allegedly. But who the hell's Kia? I don't even know who Kia is. No, I know he's married. He was dating one girl that was, you know, I kind of always said you know, people do anything for money. Some of y'all will sleep with a dog for money. Once he got money and you can get invited to the parties and whatever, you'll sleep with anything, you roll with anything. But no, Bobo, your sins have to come, because like I said, you don't get to have all these negatives and money be the only saving grace. Not in my book, because I guess money has never meant that much to me where I felt like I had to compromise every fiber in my being for it. But I have no clue who Kia is. But anyway, bless you, child, because you really, Lord Jesus, you went low on that one. It wouldn't have been me he was beating. I'm like, nope, you don't get to be ugly and beat people at the same time. She worked at Cayman Airways. Oh, so her coworkers said they knew about it. So someone says, yes, he's part owner of Advanced Automotive. You see, he still has business interests all over the place. He can be fine. You know, he don't need no second chances from government. Government don't need to give Canova no job. You know what he doing up in prison? You know, the funny thing is, before he left prison, they do like this kind of integration thing. The last couple of years, Canova was already doing accounting for people and all kind of stuff. That one, I'm telling you, he don't need no second chances. He'll be just fine. He gonna be out, Miss Brenda, when he gets out making more money than me and you put together. You sit there worried about him. You better try and worry about your Volvo that we trying to get you. Oh my God. That we trying to get you sorted out, because he not got no worries. He'll buy you the Volvo when he get out of jail. So he says he was buying somebody a Rolex, and he gave somebody, who the hell's Lisa? He bought Lisa a Rolex, gave Sandra a down payment for her house in North Side. Canova Watson? Who are all these women? I know it not, to be clear, it's not this Sandra, and I got a house in North Side. So I don't know. Oh my God, what a mess. Hot mess. Somebody says, listening to the show today made me realize the Cayman government enables incompetence and bad behavior. The worse you have is the more chance you have on moving up the ladder. The worse you behave, is the more chance you have on moving up the ladder. Oh, Lord. What a hot mess. Okay, then. It is what it is. Carrie says, some people are so foolish around a Mercedes car and the driver. Lord Jesus, I don't even know. Trisha says, I'm tearing up at my desk trying to behave. We don't want you to lose your job because you don't get no second chances. You're going to be in the back of the classroom where none of us can get a job. So keep your job, girl. Don't laugh too loud. Carrie says, Canova has commercial buildings in Jamaica. Listen, I'm pretty sure that he will be just fine. You know, the only second chance I'm thinking he might need is in the eyes of people. And listen, once you start rolling in money again, Caymanians, forget everything. We have an innate ability, take it from me, to completely forget people's wrongdoings once they are rolling in money. I have seen it with my own two beady little eyes, honey child. So, he'll be fine. You know, I don't actually have any worries about him. Does he have any children? I don't think he has any kids. You know, Bruce Baker, I guess, has a young child. He actually, as he was convicted and being sent to jail, his wife just was pregnant and just had a baby. So, you know, maybe he needs a job more than Canova, needs a second chance. He probably not got nothing. They sold their company building there in town. The sister never returned to Cayman after she had her episode with what she did. because this sister had some issues too. I remember her from Maples and Calder days, where she was sleeping with one of the partners and lied about her credentials, her CPA credentials, and all sorts of hot mess. And then she went to the US and never returned. And maybe that was for the best, honey child. Somebody over there giving her second not position, but second chance or whatever. I don't know. She just disappeared. She's never returned to Cayman. So there you have it, honey child. It's just a sad situation. All I can tell you is you got to look out for yourself. Don't get involved in these organizations and be trying to freeload off of people and get something for nothing. There's nothing in life that comes for free. Oh, he has a daughter. Really? She's an adult now. Oh, well, at least she's not a newborn. So she can move on with her life. But anyway, that's all I can tell you. I'm just so sad that our own people have found themselves in this mess. And it has never made me feel good to see any of our people, especially ones that have risen to the top, like Jeff Webb. I mean, he was going to be the next head of not just the Cayman Islands Football Association, like the top in the world. He was up for that job. And then you find out that it's like, oh my God, they were all taking advantage of poor kids in Haiti and money. And, he was chasing money and he was chasing Seth, what his name was, Seth Blatter, whatever the hell his name is, and all that kind of stuff too. It's just a hot mess. It is a hot mess. Just be careful. People, keep your company list short. Don't be flexing with people who got money just because they got money, because you know what Aunt Lottie always used to tell me? She used to say, Sandra, don't look at what nobody else got because you don't know how they got it. She said they could thief it. They could, be prostituting for it, whatever. She said, all you gonna know in life is how you get what you get. So you focus on yourself. And I think that is good salient advice even now, as we look at situations like this. I know how I got what I got, and so does CNB, because every little invoice has to be accounted for. Every dollar that comes through the account, honey child, they do an annual audit on me. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but CMR not getting no blight with nothing. I get audited every single year. They want this one long list of foolishness, documents and this and that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, some of these multi-gazillion dollar companies not even doing all that. But you know what? I don't mind it. I'm not complaining. Because when people try and come, oh, this one biting her off, I say, really? Where are they putting the money? Which hole they're hiding the money in the backyard in? Because I can tell you one thing, my money goes through my bank account and I got a contract attached to every single payment that comes in, an invoice attached to every single payment, and I know where the money coming from. That's how you have to be about your business. Don't make nobody trip you up with no foolishness. Yep. I want to be traveling first class too, but I gotta have to find a way how to get the miles off of a credit card or something. I'm not gonna be jumping in no private jet with no Jeffrey Epstein and other people trying to live a highfalutin life. Oh, not me, Bobo. I'm scared of them things because I done told y'all I am scared of going to jail. Remember what I told you? Jail life not for auntie, and I mean that. That is the God's truth. I'm too cute and too precious to be up in no Fairbanks jail for no woman to be looking at me. Not today, Bobo. Anyway, I wish Bruce Brake the best of luck. It is a temporary position. As he said, I know that there are people in the civil service, especially in the Cayman Islands Fire Service, who feel a way about it. That position is theirs. They've been working hard and they are insulted by the fact that Bruce Blake has gotten it. All I can tell you is, give him a second chance. Let's see what he does. You see, a lot of the companies that he would potentially be working for, they don't really play around, right? So as soon as his name was called up in this foolishness, Maples and Calder was like, oh no, Bobo, you got to go. We don't want our name too linked to nothing. And despite the fact that they're actually breaching immigration laws themselves, I'm just saying, they don't want to be involved with criminals. So all I can tell you is, yeah. Okay. So my honey child, just do your best. Bruce, I am so sorry for your lack of poor decision or your stupidity and culpability in all of this. But get your act together, boo-boo. This is your second chance now, right? The government is giving you a second chance. And I would suggest that you keep yourself clean. Because if you end up going northward again, there will be no third, fourth, and fifth chances. That's it. We're going to be done with you. Everybody else that's listening to this message, that the young lady confirmed that there was a message earlier about the DVDL situation, and some young man, he's a mother now, father, sorry, and he's going to jail. His daughter now has to live with this. It is sad for the children, especially when they're minor children, to have to know that they have a parent that's in jail. And kids make fun of each other. Oh, your dad just went to jail and he not no good and whatever. It's sad, but the decisions that you all are making as parents, unfortunately, will impact your children. And if for no other reason, once you have children, for no other reason, then you got to protect your children in this world, right? Even if you don't care about your own reputation. Somebody had the quote in there, what did they say? Puss and dog don't have the same luck. Protect your children from this kind of nonsense. Carry yourself in a manner in which nobody can approach you with any kind of underhanded business. I remember during pre-election, somebody approached me and said, Sandy, this person wants your support during the election and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, the packages are here for everybody to see. Or, but they want to be able to give you money and I'll just bring them up. No, Bobo. I was like, no. Every payment has to have a contract signed because you're paying for services. Yes. And with those services, you're paying for package, display ad, 2 appearances on the talk show, blah, blah, blah. It's an actual package. You're not paying for my support. You're paying for a package. So you have got to sign the contract and the money has to go through the bank. From the time this person said, oh, can we give you cash? I was like, not in this lifetime, you can't. You can't be giving me no money like that. Cash? I don't even want to hear nothing about cash. First of all, I lose this money, so I'm the worst person to give cash to. But also, when it comes to politics, anybody who wants to pay you under the table, pay you cash, something not right with that transaction. And I'm sorry, but I don't want no part of it. I have worked too hard. And even when you're working hard and you're honest, people can still question your integrity. They can still question, well, how come this one was on, that wasn't? I'm like, they had a chance to come on. It's them that didn't want to come on. Or they were trying to dictate my packages to me. That's not how it works either. Right? So at the end of the day, honey child, honey boo-boo, that is what it is. You got to know when you have to say, no, this can't work. Pump a brake on people approaching you in a particular manner. And then after a while, I'm going to tell you, those people know better. No, we can't approach Sandy like that again, because the last time we tried that, she said, absolutely not. The money has to come through the bank. You think I can chance getting my accounts locked down and getting legitimate business for short-term gain? Y'all can keep it. I don't need money that bad. Praise the Lord. My little bills are covered. My bills are paid. And if I can't afford it this month, well, I save up and next month I should be able to afford it, or the month after I should be able to afford it. You just got to save up for it. And there's nothing wrong with living within your means. There's lots of things that I say no to. Okay? I don't need no Rolex watch. I I opted for the pickleball court. Now some of y'all like, well, Sandy, that's still bougie. But guess what? The pool was going to be a whole lot more money and a lot more ongoing maintenance. I'm like, I can't budget for that. I ain't got no money for that. Even if I have it, I don't want to spend it, is the point. So put yourself in the straight position. Anthony says, what about KB rebate Sandy? He was a no-show. Well, I did tell him, and it says in the contract, no rebates and no refunds. You paid for what you paid for, plus he got a discount. You paid for what you paid for, and you didn't come, then not my business. We were there waiting for you. The fact that he didn't show up, well, bless him. Bless his little heart. He told us he was coming, and he didn't come. Well, that's not really my business. Anywho, it is what it is, folks. I feel bad about the whole situation, you know, but I think in the end, they're both going to be fine because, no, I don't need a Mercedes either. I wanted a Mercedes, and that was my treat for, by the way, I've had quite a few Mercedes now, but that was my treat for my 50th. So yeah, I treat myself. I'm not going to treat myself to a Rolex because I don't want a Rolex. To me, that's wasting money, you know, and something I'm going to wear in my arm, $50,000, that can go towards a freaking car that I can drive and get up and down and do stuff and help me earn even more money. Hello, Clavicula. How are you? Anyway, I don't know. I'm just telling y'all that for me, you know, I'm just trying to stay in my lane. I'm just trying to stay straight. Yep. And next car I get, hopefully it'll be another Mercedes again. I was kind of thinking about a BMW because they be coming heavy on the things, but you know, the strange thing is with them, I don't want to be my car blowing up and all kind of foolishness. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I need to actually go by the bank today and get some error messages. I need to get something set up. So it is what it is. Y'all try to behave. I know I got to get to my appointment. Jeez and peace. I got work to do. I'm going to tell y'all about some new stuff that's going on. I'm expanding my footprint. CMR TV now has a home. And so we're going to talk about some of that. That's where my money be going. My money be going on like real things that are going to add value to my portfolio. That's what Mama's spending money on. Hey, Vanessa, joining us from Tampa. How you doing? What are you doing in Tampa? No, girl, but when I see them cars exploding and catching on fire, I can just stick with my little Benz, honey child. Them cars not give me no trouble yet. And I get great service from Car City. Top-notch VIP service. Anyway, y'all be good. Stay out of jail. Don't steal from nobody. Don't sign any documents that you don't know what you're signing. Don't get involved in money laundering. Don't be fronting for people because sometimes y'all front for people and then you get in trouble. Yes, the debt collection business is coming. This is going to be the headquarters for that. Yes, honey child. That is coming. I got to get everything set up properly. Anyway, I'll see y'all. I got to get to work now. See y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow's what, Wednesday? We'll continue open mic. We got to talk about that ATM attempted theft. Because did you guys know that was an NRA front loader that they tried to do it with? Ooh, honey child, we got to talk. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Get to work and go earn some money, honestly. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Open mic tomorrow. We'll talk about lots of good